25 million people wake up every day with a scream in their chest. Inside, I'm dying a little more while I smile on the outside. Worry, stress, and fear of the future. It eats them alive even when no one is around. You might be having the same thing happen. You might not even remember the last time you were truly calm. The world taught you to hold on tighter, worry more, and run faster. But it didn't teach you how to be free. That changes tonight. Tonight, you will hear the Buddhist truths that can free your mind in a quiet way. Not with empty words, not with fake happiness, but with the kind of knowledge that has stood the test of time for 2,500 years. It works. You can't look for real peace. You find it when you stop running for the last time. As you listen tonight, something inside you will break open. The heavy pressure will start to lift, and you'll see that the life you want isn't so far away. It's been here the whole time, but your fears have been covering it up. Follow me. You'll feel lighter as we go deeper. When this trip is over, you won't just fall asleep. You'll wake up to a life without fear. Let's start. Fear has been too heavy for you for too long. You were led astray into thinking that you could finally breathe if you just planned better, worried more, and kept one step ahead of everything. But tonight, something more important is calling you. A chance to let go. At this point, you can see why power is what's been stopping your happiness. Let's get to the bottom of it. A lot of people fight truth their whole lives and don't even know it. They have a long list of things that need to go right that they carry around with them every morning. Plans have to go exactly as planned. People must act exactly how we expect them to. The body needs to stay strong. The future must be able to be known. And if any part of that unstable tower shakes, worry pours through like water pouring through a broken wall. Somewhere deep down, people think that life will finally feel safe if they can just control everything so well. But life isn't meant to be controlled. It's designed to move, change, and be unpredictable. And attempting to manage it is like attempting to force the ocean into a bottle. It hurts more when you try too hard to make life fit a certain mold. The more you hold on, the more pain you cause. The mind is like a hand that is always clenched and ready to fight the next threat that can't be seen. You forget that worry is even there because it feels like a second skin. Worst of all, the power you believe keeps you safe is actually a prison that makes you restless, afraid, and tired. Controlling things doesn't really make you safe. It comes from being aware. You get it when you see life for what it is, something you take part in, not something you own. The Buddha taught a harsh but kind truth. Causes and conditions make life happen. Everything comes about because of everything else. There is nothing that stands by itself. Strange things don't happen. The rain, the sun, the soil, and all the other secret factors that go back into the infinite past cause a flower to bloom. It's also true for you. Your feelings, thoughts, and experiences are all caused by millions of outside things interacting with each other. Your family, your genes, the first words you heard, the smells of your childhood kitchen, or the places you walked to school were all things you didn't choose. Your traits as a person were formed long before you even knew the word me. Something inside you starts to relax when you really see this. Life's anger, your own frustration, and the never-ending blame for other people all start to lose their hold on you. You understand that life wasn't really that hard most of the time. It was because you thought life would follow your rules. You thought that your ideas would be the only ones that mattered. However, life never agreed to that. Your life doesn't follow your own story. It follows the dance of causes and conditions. This is good news. You are free now. If you think of life as a river, then trying to bend it is like screaming at the stream to stop while standing in the middle of it. It's not going to happen. It will never happen. However, you can stay alive without stopping the river if you just jump in and let it take you along, gently guiding your steps and keeping your balance as it goes. To find peace, you don't have to stop the flow. All you have to do is move with it, to hear it, to believe it. It's not time to give up. It's about giving up the right things, giving up the fight against the real world, giving up the silly idea that you can make everything safe forever by clenching your teeth really hard. It's not possible, not anyone. People who aren't very rich, not the most powerful leaders, not even the wise and holy people who lived before you. Those who found peace did not win the power struggle. They were the ones who were calm. When you understand dependent origination, you stop seeing life as a set of attacks or wins on yourself. You start to see trends, how things are linked, and how one thing can lead to another. Someone hits you. It could be about someone else, not you. Stress, fear, and old hurts that they may not even understand could be the cause. You're fired? It could just be the market changing and not a sign that you are not valuable. Your body hurts and moves more slowly. Maybe it's not betrayal, but just the way things have been going since before you were born. This point of view isn't a reason to be silent. It's a call to act wisely instead of responding without thinking. It opens the door to understanding, both for yourself and for everyone else who is going through the same rough patch. Your shoulders drop without you even realizing it when you stop trying to control everything that happens. You take deeper breaths. It gets quieter at night for you. You change how you live, not because life gets easier, but because you are no longer fighting it. You still plant things. You still do something. You still care. You don't clench your fists, though. You do it with open hands. You know that you are just one part of a huge fabric and not the only one who makes fate happen. You learn along the way that the best things that ever happened to you were not the ones you carefully planned. They were the shocks, strange events, the times when events and circumstances came together in ways you could not have imagined and gave you something you didn't even know you needed. It could have been a friend who showed up when you were feeling lonely. It could have been a job you got after failing at something else. It's possible that you only realized it after a breakup broke your old beliefs. That wasn't on your careful list of things to do. Still, they changed you more than all of your well-thought-out plans put together. Just because you trust the dance of causes and conditions doesn't mean you'll never be afraid again. There is still fear. There is still doubt at the window. You learn not to have tea with them, though. You learn to greet them with a bow like they're old friends and let them go. There is something greater than fear that you learn to rest in, the steady, quiet flow of life. You learn how to move without having to know where the road ends. You learn to love people without having to decide who stays and who goes. You learn to breathe without having to know what will happen tomorrow. The weirdest and most beautiful thing is that when you stop trying to control life, it often treats you with kindness that you couldn't have asked for. Chances come up that you didn't go after. You can heal in places where you thought you couldn't. Where there were once only walls, connections grow. You can't make any of this happen. It comes from trust, not from being in charge. To get it, you have to live in tune with truth and not try to change it to fit your needs. You may still be holding on tight to some parts of your life right now. There will be times when you say to yourself, "I can't let go," or everything will fall apart. Feel that pain. Think about how heavy it is to be responsible for a world you didn't make. Then, if you're ready, let that part of you breathe. Not too much, just enough to feel a flash of light where there was darkness before. You don't need to give up everything at once. You just need to begin. One moment at a time, you just need to lean toward trust. This is how power slowly slips away. It wasn't a violent breaking. It wasn't a very bad loss. A gentle, kind submission. A giving up of arms after fighting a battle your whole life that you were never meant to win. You'll find more strength than you thought you had when you give up. It's clear enough to burn off the smoke. With that peace, no amount of planning or stress could ever make it happen. When your eyes get tired and your mind starts to wander tonight, remember this. You were never meant to keep it all together. Being the leader of everything was never meant to be you. You were supposed to dance, to go with the flow, to believe in the water, to feel the wind on your face, and know that life is taking you where you need to go, even if you don't understand it. Relax. Allow the water to move you. Let the dance take you home. Something even deeper starts to stir inside you once you stop holding on to life with clenched fists and start letting the river take you. You become aware of the unnoticed weight you've been carrying for years, and the verdicts, the bad feelings, the angry silence you felt toward yourself, other people, and the world because it wasn't right. Not being in charge is the first freedom. Letting go of blame is the second. It cuts even more close to the bone. It feels good to blame others, but it's really chains. It says it will keep you safe, but it only makes your pain worse. There will be a surprise for you tonight when you finally let go and walk free. The mind likes to find fault, one of the best ways to stay alive. When something hurts, the mind quickly seeks out someone to blame. There must be a criminal. This pain has to be caused by someone. It could be the person who lied. It could be the parent who didn't keep you safe. It's possible that your boss forgot about you. If no one else is free, it might be you. The mind keeps making up stories about who failed, who hurt, and who messed things up. It makes up these stories because it's afraid of being in pain without a good reason. Not knowing what will happen scares it. Because of this, it swings blame around like a sword, trying to make sense of the chaos. But blame is like a sword that cuts both ways. It hurts your heart every time you use it against the world. When you blame others, you stay in the victim role. Some people think that their peace relies on how much other people change, say sorry, or pay for what they did. It links your happiness to things you can't change. Even more quickly, blaming yourself makes you sick. It makes you feel bad about yourself, which makes you punish yourself even more. You keep making the same mistakes, and memories that you can't change keep cutting you. When you blame someone, whether it's someone else or yourself, you make your heart stronger. Buddhism gives people another way, a whole new way, a way that seems almost impossible until you try it and feel the freedom it gives you. Stop blaming others. Put it all down, not because everyone else was right, not because you were wrong, however, because blame is what holds you back and makes you suffer. Life has pain. When you add blame to the pain, you get suffering. Seeing that one thing led to another is not the same as blaming someone. There are reasons why terrible things happen. Like everything else, it happens for a lot of different reasons. The reasons behind them aren't always personal, though. They don't always mean bad things. They don't always mean to be. A lot of the time, people hurt others because they are hurting. The storm that hit your life most of the time wasn't sent just for you. It was just a storm. You can't blame it for raining on you any more than you can blame clouds for being clouds. Something amazing starts to happen when you start to look at life this way. You don't need to say sorry to get better. You no longer need justice to move on. You no longer need everyone to kneel down in front of you and say they were wrong. You start to learn that you can heal yourself. You don't have to wait for it to happen. It's no longer a gift to forgive other people. You make a way for yourself through it. Blame makes you think that someone else is to blame for your pain. Freedom tells you that healing is a holy duty that only you can do. Not because there's something wrong with you, not because you make a reason for it, but because you don't want it to define you anymore. You don't want to keep the disease in your body longer than you have to. You won't tie your happiness to how other people act. This doesn't mean acting like everything is okay. That doesn't mean ignoring wrongdoing, betrayal, or cruelty. Accepting what really happened and then making the choice not to live with the hurt forever is what it means. It means getting a clear picture of what you're feeling and letting go of the need to keep going over the same battleground in your thoughts. You don't lose your power when you let go of blame. You take it back. Stop being the hurt soldier who needs someone else to fix them. You start to fix yourself. Not with anger, but with knowledge. You sew your own heart back together. To rebuild your spirit, you don't have to forgive everyone else. You have to do it for your own safety. Giving up the subtle, constant blame of life itself is also part of this freedom. How many hours, days, or years do you waste yelling at fate, putting the blame on your bad luck, a hard past, broken relationships, or missed chances? It shouldn't have been this way is a quiet, angry story that ruins how many days. If you blame life, you might think that it will be ashamed and give you better cards. But life doesn't make deals. Life is fair to everyone. Life just moves forward, always weaving together causes and conditions, always giving us moments, and always moving and changing. No matter what you say, the river runs. How you enjoy the ride is the only thing that changes. Taking the blame off of someone is like loosening up a hand that has been closed for years. It seems strange at first, not strong, open to harm. The mind is scared. Who will protect you if you stop blaming others? Who will protect your wounds? But slowly, you understand something amazing. The safety you were looking for was never to blame. It was very clear. The answer was yes. Being able to face the truth of your life and know that you are still here, living and deserving of happiness. Even if other people don't get it, even if they never say sorry, even when life doesn't want to make sense, you're free. Feel your way to sleep tonight. Find the places inside you that are still holding on to blame, old lies and betrayals, the old failures. You're mad at yourself for what you didn't know, do, or say. Feel them go up. Feel them ask to be held, judged, and fought over again. Then, if you're ready, bless them. Bless them like old wounds that don't need to bleed anymore. Let them go and bless them. You don't need to punish yourself for making it this far. You don't have to punish people who are lost. Being free of blame is not a neutral state of being. It's not giving up when things are unfair. Taking your heart back from the endless courtrooms of your mind is a hot and brave thing to do. Don't think that you have to judge every hurt that was done to you. You're here to live, to have fun, to take a breath, to love once more. You've come here to finally close the heavy pages of your past and begin a new chapter. The past doesn't go away, but it no longer defines you. Give it up. Let everything go. You can't move forward when you blame other people. When you quietly turn your face toward the morning sun, you feel free. You can make that choice tonight when there is no one around and only your breath is heard. Put down the sword. You no longer need to watch over the ruins. You can go back out into the big, open field of life. Less heavy, better, no cost. As soon as you let go of blame, you start to feel a strange, almost foreign quiet inside. Storms that happen often lose their strength. When the mind is used to fighting enemies inside and out, all of a sudden it is in a big, empty area. But even in this openness, there are two traps that are ready to pull you back into pain: fear and hope. There are two forces that look very different, but they are really just two ends of the same chain. To stay free and at peace, you have to walk the thin line between them without falling off. You will learn how to do it tonight. You chase after things that aren't here because of hope. You run away from things that haven't happened yet out of fear. Both of them take your life. In the middle, there is a better way. The mind still looks for something to hold on to when it's not judging. It hopes for the future and starts building castles. When it sees something dark, it gets scared and starts digging holes. Hope whispers promises. One day you'll be safe, happy, and everything will feel right. Fear screams warnings. Danger is coming. You will hurt and you will lose. And because it is stuck between these two voices, the heart tightens again, slowly and quietly. It doesn't even realize that it has taken on a new kind of pain. Hope isn't always portrayed as a sweet gift. For most people, hope is just a quiet form of fear. It says, "I'm not okay right now, but maybe one day I will be." It teaches you to run after life like a dog after a moving car, always but never quite making it. When you think about it, it takes you to the future, where you can fantasize and daydream about how things might finally be perfect. But because things are never perfect, hope slowly goes bad. The dream that used to make you happy starts to die inside you. Every dream that doesn't come true turns into a seed of anger. Every broken dream opens the door to hopelessness. Hope tells you that happiness is always close by. You spend your whole life trying to reach, stretch, and strain, and every time you miss, you die a little more. Fear, on the other hand, makes jails even before the enemy shows up. It makes you believe that you will always be in pain, that you will always be let down, and that you can never be safe. It makes the world smaller. It says, don't try, don't trust, don't open. It's safer to stay small and numb than to face the harsh truth. Fear makes you always crouch, always protect yourself, and always look over your shoulder for threats that might not come. When you're scared, every open door becomes a trap, every smile becomes a threat, and every step forward becomes too dangerous to take. Hope and fear both come from the same mistake, thinking that peace rests on what's going on in the outside world. You'll feel at peace when you get what you want or stay away from what you fear. But Buddhist understanding sees right through this illusion in a way that is scary. There is no peace at the end of the road to hope. Fear's protections don't always keep us safe. When you stop running toward or away from something, peace is here in the middle. Buddha taught that the middle way is not a dull grey line between two bright ends. It's a real, intense freedom from the game of grabbing and turning away. If your dreams never come true, you will know that you are already whole, that you are safe already, even if the worst things that could happen do happen. In the middle of your life, it stands there without pulling toward desire or fear. It's balanced, like a flame that doesn't flicker too much or go out from lack of care. At first, living in the middle seems strange. Compared to the ups and downs of fear and hope you've known all your life, it feels empty and almost dull. It's not as high. The lows sound better. There are not as many big events or desperate prayers. Instead, there is a steady hum that goes through everything. A peaceful life. A simple happiness in every breath, every step, and every moment just the way it is. You start to understand that hope and fear were just mental games, stories you made up to avoid facing how incredibly simple things really are. Truth without fantasy. Real life without scary stories. Just this, right now, becoming. If you only experience this kind of life for a short time, you'll know it's worth more than 1,000 days of safety or dreams. Taking the middle road doesn't mean you no longer care. It means you care, but don't hold on. You don't need promises to love someone. The results don't have to drive your work. You can make plans without getting killed when they don't work out. You don't have to make the fun last forever. You don't have to drown in your grief. You can hope lightly, like when you blow a feather into the air. If it falls, just smile and let it go. Beating the present moment with hope or fear is the same thing. They say, that's not enough. They say that what's going on now is just a stop along the way to something better or worse. They tell you not to rest, not to trust, and not to open. You can sit down and enjoy your life as it is with the middle way. No, not because it's great, not because this is how it will stay, but because it's the only place where you can ever find real peace. You find that life takes care of itself better when you live in the middle. That joys show up without being looked for. That dangers are faced and worked through without practicing 1,000 times. That you're both stronger and softer than you thought. That you won't break when things change. You don't have to lose yourself to let go. As you walk the medium path more often, your mind gets a little more stable. You take a few more deep breaths. You look around a little more. And the never-ending loop of running away and being chased starts to loosen its hold. You become a bit more like the sky, able to hold clouds without being stuck on their shapes, and let storms pass without worrying that they will destroy you. Hope says, when will things be good? Fear tells us that things will go badly if. Life is now, says the middle way. This is life. Life is going on in ways that you don't need to or can't control. It's not your job to make sure the story has a happy finish. As you go through each day, remember to be brave, kind, and clear. This way is not simple. The mind will scream at times, telling you to grab something, push something away, or fix something right away. Old dreams will sometimes whisper desires. Old fears will howl in the dark times. You can look at them all with the same calm eyes, though. They can come and go like clouds in the clear sky of your mind. You can rest more and more in the middle, which is where the real power is. Just because you take the middle path doesn't mean you never dream. It means you know that your dreams are not holding you back. If you love your dreams like kids playing in the field, you can laugh when they trip and bless them as they run away. It means you can nod politely at your fears like old friends, but you don't have to invite them to stay. Feel for the places where hope is still pulling you forward, or fear is still pulling you back tonight as you listen to the quiet beat of your breath. Feel how they make you feel tight, and how they either shrink or stretch your spirit. After that, slowly ask yourself to come back to the middle. Here it is. Now, not wanting anything else, without being afraid less. Life is already a miracle the way it is, not because it's what you want, not because it keeps you from being afraid, but because it's there at all, because you are here at all, because life keeps giving you breath, even though it's not perfect. Tonight is not the time to fix everything. You don't need to know everything. There is only one small step left to get to the middle. Take a small breath and feel more in the present. One small break in the old bonds of fear and hope. Over time, those little steps will lead to more freedom than you ever thought possible. Stay here. Hold on. Keep your door open. Allow the middle road to carry you through life's vastness like a gentle stream. And just maybe, you'll find that the peace you've been looking for your whole life was never going to come. It had been waiting for you right here, under your feet, the whole time. Something inside you starts to calm down when you take the middle road. The intense need to run away from danger and the wild desire for more fade. You are able to find balance, but there is a quiet enemy in the background. The never-ending cycle of what-if thoughts. Thinking about what might happen, what could go wrong, and what needs to be protected at all costs in silence. Not like fear or hope. It doesn't scream or entice. The pain is slow and quiet. Tonight, we're going to enter this secret battleground and learn how to get away from it for good. When you worry, you start to believe that thinking about all the bad things that could happen will protect you, but it's a trick that makes you afraid and never makes you safer. You can get out of this, and it starts right here. The mind loves to imagine bad things happening. It thinks that it can beat pain if it can just guess every danger. It keeps making up stories like, what if I lose my job? What if I get sick? What if they leave me? What if I fail? What if everything breaks down? It seems like a plan at first, like getting ready, but after a while, it turns into a sickness of the spirit that stops the soul from moving. You get stuck not in the life you're living, but in the life you're picturing. You may have your feet firmly on the ground, but the storms of what-ifs in your head are making your heart sink. Mindfulness is as sharp as a sword and as soft as a feather when it comes to this. The what-ifs don't matter when you're mindful. It doesn't argue or fight with them. It only sees that this is thinking. This story is very interesting. This is not true. This is not going on at the moment. And just by noticing, the whole nightmare starts to fall apart. Being mindful brings you back to the only place where life really happens. Right now. Right now. This breath, this beating heart. Right now. The mind will argue. Your mind will tell you over and over again to keep thinking, worried, and practicing. It will tell you that not thinking about the future is stupid, risky, and careless. But being aware can see through the lie. For it, worry is not the price you have to pay to be safe. It's what you get for giving up the moment. There are always shadows to fight when you live in your mind's endless play of what-ifs. You get ready for bad things that never happen. You feel sad about losses that never happen. You miss out on the sweetness of today by trying to control tomorrow, which hasn't even happened yet. As you think about what-ifs, each minute is a minute taken away from your real life. When real problems do arise, which they will, you won't be ready for them with the calm strength of preparation. Instead, you'll be as tired and scared as someone who has fought 100 imaginary fights before the real one even started. When you're mindful, you can put down your sword, not to fight ghosts anymore, to get back to the one place where the power works, right now, to see your thoughts as just that, thoughts, rather than as predictions, threats, or orders, just moving clouds in the sky of your mind. You don't need to believe everything you think. You don't have to follow through on every scary thought that comes to your mind. The what-ifs can come up, and you can just nod them off like they're strangers. Then you can focus on the ground beneath your feet, the air in your lungs, and your heart's slow beat. You start to understand how much life you have been missing as you do this more and more. How many sunsets did you miss because you were scared of a storm that never came? How many smiles did you miss because you were thinking about fights that never happened? How many nights didn't you really sleep because you were making plans for bad things that never happened? Being mindful isn't about getting better all the time. It's about being here and now, about living fully in the only place where real life takes place. Fear of the future feeds anxiety. It can't live in the present. There is no room for fear to grow when you are truly here, where you can taste your food, feel the sun's warmth, and hear a friend laughing. Fear needs a break between what is happening now and what could happen. When you fully return to the present, you close that gap, and fear dies like a plant without water. You should still make plans for the future. Making plans is helpful. Stress is not. Planning can be done in a few minutes of clear thinking based on the here and now. When you worry, you lose yourself in hours of made-up pain and thoughts of things that might not happen and may never happen. Being mindful teaches you to act when you need to and rest when you're done. It teaches you that thinking about something over and over again won't help you get it under control. It takes away your peace. One of the most important things that Buddhists teach is that you can make your life lighter, not by fixing all of your problems, but by dealing with them in a different way. Because they know that not every question needs an answer tonight, they are holding them lightly. Sometimes you don't have to push your fears away. It's okay to just notice, accept, and let some things happen on their own. With mindfulness, you can train your mind to calm down, to notice when a scary thought comes up without giving into it, to feel the rush of worry without getting too caught up in it, to see how the mind spins around what-ifs and gently guide the heart's attention back to what is real, solid, and here. This can begin in a very small way. Take a deep breath, being aware that you are breathing right now and that this moment does not need anything else to be added or taken away. Take one step, being aware of the ground beneath your feet and not thinking too quickly about what might happen in 5 steps. One sound, listening completely without adding your own thoughts, opinions, or predictions about what will happen next. Every little step back into the present is a win over the worry that won't go away. Over time, something very interesting takes place. It's easy for the mind to stop believing its own scary stories. Thoughts of fear lose their power. Thoughts run through the mind more like a river, and you don't have to fight or chase them. You understand that most of the battles you thought you had to fight were really just mind games. You understand that your real strength doesn't come from always being ready for the worst. It comes from being there, from trust, because you know you can handle each moment as it comes and don't have to think about every bad thing that could happen. When you're anxious, the world seems like 1,000 little dangers. Being mindful makes it bigger, like a huge live mystery. A world where not everything is known or certain, but where kindness, beauty, and strength still show up, often when you least expect them. A world where you can breathe even though there are no promises. A place where you can rest even though you haven't fixed all the problems. There may still be parts of your mind making up what-if stories as you listen. Allow them to spin. You don't have to put them on the ground. You only need to see them for what they are. Fears that make you do things, not absolute facts. You don't have to pay them your full attention to recognize that they are there. Back to the warmth of your own breath, the steady beat of your own heart, and the quiet wonder of being here at all is something you can do. Stopping all thoughts won't bring peace. Never believe every thought again to find peace. Even more so, the ones that pull you into a scary future. Being mindful lets you pick where to focus your attention. Your life lives where you put your attention. You can choose to focus on home tonight. Home to how soft the pillow is under your head. Home to the soft beat of your own breaths. Home to the simple truth that you are safe right now. You're still living. You're good enough. Let the what-ifs go by like water with leaves on it. You shouldn't have to chase or grab them when they come and go. Let yourself rest more and more in the present moment, because life is now. Peace is now. You are free now. When you stop thinking about what might happen and focus on the here and now, you begin to notice something more profound. Stress, worry, and fear are not just things that live in your head. They also leave marks on the body. Without asking, they make the muscles tighten, the breath get harder, and the heart less open. It's not enough to just calm your mind if you want real happiness. The body also needs to be softened. You will learn how to do it tonight. Every fear that the mind tries to forget is stored in the body. But inside that tightness might be a door to freedom you didn't know was there. The clouds of fear, worry, and doubt that go through your mind don't just go away. You can feel where they fall if you pay close enough attention. They drop into the body like rocks into a pond. A stiff neck, a jaw that is tight, a chest that feels like it's got ropes around it that you can't see. The stomach turns into knots for no clear reason. Most of the time, we think of the mind and body as two different things, but they are actually very connected. There is a mark inside you that every scary thought leaves. Every worried guess about the future tightens a muscle, makes it harder to breathe, and makes an arm harder to move. Fear will stay just below the surface, waiting for the next reason to come to the surface. Even if you think your thoughts are calm, forget about your body. The body holds what the mind won't think about. Our bodies stay in old, defensive positions even after our minds have moved on to new fears. They are stuck in survival mode. You might not even know it. As you go through life, you may carry the weight of fights you barely remember, your body getting ready for threats that don't exist anymore. This stress in the air is wearing. Without your permission, it burns power. It slowly drains your energy until even rest is too much for you. Buddhist teachings say that real rest is not just something you do on weekends. It's an important way to get to freedom. A tense mind feeds on a tense body. When you rest your body, your mind can calm down like water that has been through a storm. You tell the nervous system in a strong way that it's safe to move the body around. You no longer need to fight. You don't need to get ready for the next hit. You can now go home alone. But softening the body doesn't mean pushing yourself to chill out. There's no need to tell your heart to slow down or your muscles to relax. Resistance gets stronger when you use force. Being paid attention to, being kind to, and slowly and gently learning to trust again can soften someone. First, you need to be aware of where you are tight. I'm not judging it. Do not try to fix it, just taking note. Being aware of the hardness without wanting it to go away right away. First, pay attention to how your shoulders move up toward your ears without you even realizing it. You may even be able to feel the tightness in your toes, the weak pull of your breath, and the clench in your jaw while you sleep. Every place where you feel tight is not an enemy, it's a message. It says, this is where fear was kept. This is where life became too heavy to carry in your mind by itself. Something starts to change when you give these places your full, gentle care. You're not leaving your body to chase your thoughts anymore. Your body is no longer an aside or a machine that you don't pay attention to until it breaks. You'll be back. You are hearing. And the body reacts to being heard because it is very wise. Without being pushed, muscles start to loosen up. Breath gets deeper without being able to stop it. Not because it is told to, the heart starts to open. There are easy practices that come from Buddhist teachings that can help bring out this softness. One is the focused body scan, in which you move your attention slowly over your body and feel each part without trying to change anything. Just how I feel. Just taking note. One more way is to breathe consciously while putting one hand on your chest and the other on your belly and fully noticing the rise and fall of your breath as if you were holding a baby. You can also practice loving-kindness meditation by saying things to your body in your mind, like, may you be safe, may you be relaxed, or may you be at ease. These things aren't tricks of the mind. They are gentle reminders for the body to return to its normal state of being open. These actions are ways of telling yourself over and over that you can rest. Feel free to let go of my hand. You can enjoy your feelings without having to work hard for them. It might not happen all at once. Like any hurt animal, the body needs time to learn that it is safe again. It needs to be gently touched over and over again. It needs to be shown that it can trust relaxation, not told that it can. The mind might fight you at first when you try to soften. Old fears may come back to you, telling you that if you let down your guard, everything will go wrong. This is fine. It's just old safety habits trying to keep you safe. They can be thanked for their work and then sent on their way. You get back some of your freedom every time you relax, even a little. You tell your muscles and soul that it's okay to live here every time you take a deeper breath. You can feel happy again. You don't need defense to go through life. Making the body softer also makes room for feelings to move. Many people take their grief, anger, or fear around with them, locked up in their muscles and hidden in their tissues. These old feelings may come back when the body starts to relax. Tears might come out of nowhere. Shakes, yawns, and deep sighs. This is also a part of getting better. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means you are no longer frozen. That which was buried is now being let run and be freed. In Buddhism, clinging is seen as the cause of all pain, and tension in the body shows this more clearly than anywhere else. Every tight breath, clenched hand, and hunched shoulder is a small grab at safety, control, and certainty that you are not even aware of. If you soften, you are learning not holding on to an idea, but holding on to a real thing. Your muscles, bones, and breath are all showing that you know how to let go. The great thing about this road is that you don't have to be perfect to follow it. This isn't something you have to learn quickly. You don't have to get to a certain level of looseness. Softening, for even a short time, is important. You are on the right path every time you notice stress and choose to be kind instead of harsh. You win a small gain every time you take a deeper breath instead of giving up and falling back into old habits. Listen to these words right now and see if you can loosen up any aspects that feel too tight. It could be in your jaw, it could be in your hands, perhaps near your heart. You don't need to force it open. You don't need to push anything. Take a deep breath in. Say, "It's okay," in your head. Being soft is fine here. You can feel safe here. Your whole life starts to change the more you live this way. There will still be stressful moments, but they will go by more quickly. Fear still comes and goes, but it doesn't steal your body like it used to. When hidden dams of tension are taken away, joy runs more easily. Because you aren't as protected against closeness, relationships get stronger. Energy that was once stuck in fear is now free to dance, which makes people more creative. This change is big. One calm breath at a time, it's a change. A movement that says, "I'm not going to give up my body anymore. I'm not going to stay stuck in fear anymore. I'm going to soften, even if it makes me feel weak. I will accept, even if things don't seem sure. I will fully live here and not say sorry." Let your body teach you tonight as you drift off to sleep. Allow it to teach you how to rest, how to let go. You can learn how to breathe again, but this time as a person who has finally arrived at the deep peace that has been waiting inside you the whole time. It's clear that stress was never the enemy the more you soften the body. It was a message telling you to pay attention to something more important. Something amazing happens as the muscles relax and the breath becomes steady. You start to see the empty space below all the noise, and that's where you start to see the mind's favorite trick, how it can turn small discomforts into huge problems. The way it builds whole mountains out of moving clouds. That mountain range will be torn down tonight so we can see what's below. A lot of the things that keep you up at night aren't real. It's a story, a ghost, or a shape that fear has made. You'll wonder how it ever had so much power after you see through it. Every day, the mind talks about its problems. This is not right. Something could go wrong. What they said was wrong. What you did was wrong. It makes a never-ending web of problems, each one more difficult to solve than the last. Once more, you find yourself caught in the thought that your life is just a bunch of broken pieces that need to be put back together. When you worry about something new, it's like being lost in a tunnel and not being able to find your way out. But the walls were never really there. The problems never went away for good. They never really existed as much as they seemed to. They were made-up things in my head that I made up out of fear, habit, and confusion. Buddhism makes this very clear, which can be shocking the first time you really understand it. Your troubles do not exist on their own. They don't have a self. They're not core. These feelings come from how you see and name experiences, not from the events themselves. Take a close look at any problem. Look really hard. Get rid of the layers. You were fired. Hurtful? Of course. Not easy? Yes. But does losing a job really happen? Is it something that just floats in the air, heavy and permanent? Or is it a set of circumstances, like a change in pay, a change in daily life, or having to make new choices? If you take away the word problem, all that's left are facts, changes, and progress. The pain doesn't come from the change itself, but from the mind's fierce opposition to it, the story that screams, "This shouldn't be happening." The same goes for losing a loved one, failing, and being let down. As it should in any live body, pain shows up. But the mind adds sorrow to pain. When you're suffering, you keep thinking about what happened and how things could have been different. You keep blaming, shaming, and fearing people. A passing storm becomes a constant winter when people are in pain. It does this because people think that problems are set facts rather than mental weather that changes all the time. A strange lightness comes into your life when you start to see how empty worries are. Things still go wrong, and storms still gather. However, you should stop making homes inside them. Stop making statues out of them. You learn to say hello to them like they're guests. You feel the pain, the sadness, and the fear, but you let them go. You no longer mix up the short-term pain of life with the never-ending pain of a mind that is concerned with control. You build a wall between yourself and peace every time you call something a problem. You tell yourself, "I can't be happy until this is fixed. I won't be free until this is fixed. I can't breathe until this is over." Life doesn't wait for your problems to be fixed, though. Life is always happening right now, whether you want it to or not. It tells you to live even when things are uncertain, when you have questions, and when the problems are still not fixed. This doesn't mean you should ignore pain or act like everything is fine. It means you should stop making pain an identity and giving it more weight. It means you need to stop telling yourself that you are a victim of life. Trouble doesn't come from you. You are not the names that your mind puts on every little pain. You are the empty space where problems come and go like waves on a big ocean. Buddhist beliefs talk a lot about the idea of emptiness. This is not the same thing as nothingness. Instead, emptiness means interdependence, fluidity, and freedom. This way, problems are empty. They are not set things that are ready to crush you. Like everything else, they are trends that change over time and are caused by many different factors. They come into being, change, and go away. You hurt when you hold on to them. You are free when you see through them. When you're in a bad mood, things can look different. This can help you understand this better. Sometimes what seems like an impossible situation is actually something that can be dealt with. Things haven't changed, but how you feel about them has. There was no problem in the event. It was in the mind's tight grip, the mind's determination that life do what it wants. You can also look at it by seeing how different people act in the same situation. Someone loses their job and feels hopeless. One person sees it as a chance to start over. One person is angry about being sick. Someone else handles it with ease. Everyone would act the same way if problems were really there in the way we think they are. They don't, though, because the things we call problems are not always the case. What they are is interpretations. These ideas come from the mind. It's not meant to make you careless or passive that you know this. It's meant to free you from pain that you don't need. It's meant to show you that you can find peace even when things go wrong. Being through hard times without losing yourself is what it's supposed to teach you. That you don't have to hold your hands tight when you face life. As you listen and breathe tonight, think about any problems you've been carrying around with you like big stones. Take note of how solid they feel. In a quiet voice, ask yourself, what is this made of? Is it pain that can't be changed, or is it thinking, fears, and resistance? Can I leave it alone and not make it bigger? I'm the ocean, not the storm. Can I let it go through me like a wave? The mind will fight back. It will tell you that your worries are too big, too real, and too dangerous to just let go of. It will tell you that the only way to stay safe is to be alert. Being alert is not peace, though. Freedom is not being alert. Being alert is like being locked up. It's created out of fear and kept up by habit. As soon as you stop thinking that you have to solve all of your problems before you can rest, you are free. When a problem comes up in your mind, you can say, just a thought. This is the start of freedom. It's just a cloud, just one more wave in the ocean that never ends. It makes you lighter the more you live this way. Though problems may still come up, they no longer define who you are. Your worries may still be there, but you don't have to let them in. Life isn't a series of events that happen to you. It's more like a steady journey on a wide, changing road. You don't need to fix anything tonight. You don't need to solve anything before you can breathe normally again. Things will keep going in life. There will still be problems that come up and go away. You are not in charge of this dance. It's up to you to see through the trick, to know that the sky stays clear after every storm. No matter how much you worry, your heart is still whole. Close your eyes tonight and let the problems float away. Take off the labels. Let the sense of pressure go away. Go back to the simple wonder of being here, taking a breath, living, no cost, When you understand that most of your troubles come from your thoughts and not from real events, you enter a new type of space. There is a place where life is no longer something you fight, but something you walk through. And there's another option that comes up. A way to deal with problems that doesn't just make them less painful, but turns them into fuel for growth. Tonight, we open our hearts and walk right into that potential. You're not being punished by life's pain. It wants you to grow into something better than you were before. Everything changes how you answer. Trouble is not a mistake. It doesn't mean you've failed. It's not proof that you're broken, unlucky, or cursed. Problems are where our souls learn how to deal with them. The fire breaks down what is hard inside you, the wind blows away what is dead, and the storm waters seeds you didn't even know you had planted. But the first thing that most people do when they feel pain is the same. They pull away, get ready for contact, blame themselves or others, fight back, or run away. What could have been a doorway turns into a wall because of that pushback. The caring reframe is a way to look at problems in a new way. To act like pain is nice is not the same thing. Making a smile through clenched teeth is not it. It is a brave thing to ask yourself in the worst times of your life, what is this teaching me? Why does this open me up instead of closing me down? How can this make me more compassionate, braver, and more clear-headed? When something bad happens, our minds often judge right away. This is not good. This isn't fair. This should not happen. But if you stop, breathe, and slow down your look, you might see something else. You might start to see that every hard time has the potential to make you stronger. Every failure makes room for more profound understanding. Every loss leaves a hole in your heart that can be filled with even more love one day. Being compassionate with yourself when you're having a hard time means not adding more pain to it. It means realizing that the pain of suffering is already too much for you to add criticism and shame to it. It means being kind, gentle, and patient with yourself, like you would be with a close friend who is hurting. In other words, it means letting yourself make mistakes, grieve, and feel lost without thinking that these things make you weak or useless. When you care about someone who is having a hard time, know that everyone is fighting battles you can't see. That anger often hides sadness. Kindness often hides fear. That divide often keeps people from being vulnerable. When you show kindness instead of judgment when other people are having a hard time, you stop taking everything so personally. When you stop responding to behavior on the surface, you can see the deeper currents below. And what you see changes you. It makes you softer. It makes it possible to connect even when things are crazy. There are two ways to solve each challenge. One leads to anger, shrinking, and being alone. The other way leads to love, knowledge, and growth. Your path doesn't rely on what happens to you, but on how you handle it. The word choice is very important here. Life gives you things that you can't always pick. You can frame it however you want, though. What story do you want to tell yourself about it? You can let it be a wound you carry or a root that holds you down stronger. The compassionate reframe tells you to trust that there is a reason for your problem, even if you can't see it. It wants you to believe that your pain is not for nothing in this life, that every tear, every loss, and every broken hope is being made into a tapestry that you can't quite see yet. It tells you to keep going even when the ground feels broken, because growth is happening below the surface. It's not easy. It takes a lot of guts. When you really want information right away, you have to be patient. When pride wants to be sure, humility is needed. When old habits tell you to harden your heart, you need to be kind. However, every time you deal with a problem with kindness, you change in a deep way. You are no longer just a fighter. You start to learn about life itself. You should learn how to sail instead of fighting the weather. There will be times when moving toward kindness seems impossible. There are times when the loss is too great, the pain is too new, and the wound is too raw. When that happens, being compassionate means not pushing yourself to change your mind too soon. It means making room for sadness, anger, and confusion. It means being okay with where you are without trying to find meaning right away. Caring doesn't speed up the healing process. It has faith that understanding will come at the right time, like how seeds sprout in dark earth before they reach the light. You may look back on a time you thought would destroy you and find it made you stronger, kinder, and braver. This can happen when you least expect it. You might thank the storm one day for the roots it helped you grow. You might realize someday that breaking wasn't the end of the story. It was the start of a more serious story. You learn to value all problems, not just the big ones, with the caring reframe. Traffic jams, rude comments, and plans that have to be scrapped are all little chances to learn how to be patient, forgiving, and flexible. Every little thing that bothers you is a chance to build small skills that make you stronger for bigger storms. You can get better at the bigger acts of bravery and love that life will ask of you one day by taking on small challenges. Being compassionate doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean putting up with wrongdoing or abuse. It means reacting with wisdom instead of anger. In this case, it means being strong without getting tough. It means being firm without losing your kindness. It means not letting pain make you less important, meaner, or scared. It means letting pain burn your stems instead of your roots. While you listen, think about a problem you are having right now. Something that is heavy, cruel, or not wanted. Don't try to hide how much it hurts. Feel it all the way. Then, gently ask yourself, what if this is not a punishment, but an invitation? What if life isn't trying to break me, but rather to make room in me for more love, knowledge, and courage? What if this isn't the end of my life, but the place where my soul learns to rise? You don't need to answer right away. Tonight, you don't have to force yourself to find the good in every hurt. You only need to be open to the idea that such a gift could exist. Just being ready to change things opens the door to change. Just being ready to change things can start a new way of life. When you see a problem with kindness, it turns into a way to more freedom. When pain is met with kindness instead of anger, it turns into a guide instead of a prisoner. If you look at every fall with care, it turns into a part of the dance instead of a reason to give up. And this might be the best secret of all. The more you show care for your own problems, the more people will feel safe coming to you. By being tender with your own pain, you can be more tender with the pain of others. More you forgive yourself for being human, more room you make for other people to be human too. Tonight, while you sleep, let your problems go away. Let them be heavy if you have to, but don't let them fight each other. Hold them close like old friends you're just getting to know better. Pay attention to what they say. Trust that life is changing you in ways you can't see right now. You will find peace that no storm can take away in that quiet trust. When you start to treat your problems with kindness, you find out something you didn't expect. You no longer see life as a set of fights you have to win. It feels more like a river that you can float down, even when the water gets rough. While you may want to help, there is a force called speed that can pull you back into fear if you are not careful. The habit of moving quickly, forcing, or reacting. We're going to slow down tonight, and that will help you find a strength you might have forgotten you had. Running away is a thief. It takes away your peace, your thoughts, and your breath. Being slow doesn't mean you're falling behind. It means that your soul can finally keep up with the movement. In today's world, there is a deep lie that most people don't even know they are living by. It is false to say that faster is better. That haste means it's important. That making hasty choices, talking days and years, is what it takes to be successful, a sign of dedication and proof that you are living a good life. But if you really look, you'll find the truth right where you can see it. Hurrying doesn't make things better. It doesn't bring much. It makes you less aware. It makes your heart race. It spreads your energy out over 1,000 crazy tasks, leaving you tired and empty, even though you haven't really done anything. To be deliberately slow is not to be lazy. It's not being weak. Living at the speed of knowledge is an art that has been lost over time. You can get back the power to see what you're doing, hear what you're saying, feel what you're feeling, and choose what you are becoming by moving slowly. If you move slowly, don't stop. It means you stop letting life pull you along by the hair with one stupid action after another. You can be more in the present moment when you move slowly. You are aware of the stress that builds up before you lose it and snap at someone. Before you say yes to something you don't want, you feel the fear pulling you. You can see the fear before it makes you make a hasty choice that you will later regret. Being slow gives you the power to act instead of just reacting. To pick your own way instead of letting old habits and fears push you in a certain direction. It's for a reason that Buddhist monks walk so slowly when they exercise. It's not that they have nothing to do. They do this because they know that each step holds the whole of life, that every move should be looked at carefully. People move so quickly because they are afraid of losing out, failing, or not being good enough. And moving around out of fear only makes you more afraid. At first, it feels almost strange to practice being deliberately slow. You want to hurry up inside. The mind screams, "Get up! You're not keeping up. Everyone else is going faster. You need to do more, make decisions faster, talk faster, and move faster." In the noise, though, you can hear something more honest and quiet, the part of you that wants to breathe again, the part that's worn out from running. In your heart, you know that going faster has never made you happy. Being slow is a way to fight back against the crazy rush of time. It's a way to get off the spinning wheel and find your own pace again. This phrase means, I will not be swayed by fear. I will not let the clock bother me. Living my life with the honor and depth that my soul deserves is what I will do. Start out small. When you wake up in the morning, move a little more slowly than normal. Feel your body's weight pulling you out of bed. Pay attention to how the air feels against your face. As you brush your teeth, pay close attention to how they feel. Don't look at your phone while you eat breakfast. Being slow in small ways is like planting a seed deep in the ground of your being. Practice talking more slowly when you're with other people. Not pretending to be slow, but really being there. Feel the words coming together in your mouth. Leave some room between your thoughts. Fully listen before you answer. You'll notice a difference when you're not in a hurry to fill in every blank or argue every point. Pay attention to how much better you can hear yourself and others when you're not in a hurry. When you need to make a choice, don't give in to the urge to do so right away unless it's really important. Take deep breaths. Thoughts. In your choice, ask yourself, am I making it out of fear or clarity? Wisdom can rise when things move slowly. Being slow keeps you from freaking out. Slowing down lets your intuition catch up with your thinking so you can make decisions based on wholeness instead of fragmentation. Even when you're moving, try to move more slowly on purpose. Be aware of every step you take as you walk. Pay attention to how your foot rises and falls. Pay attention to how your body moves and balances as you move. Don't waste your time on this. This is living a full life. You can find this kind of peace not by sitting still, but by moving with ease. Being deliberately slow busts the myth that being in a hurry makes you more important. Being busy doesn't make you important. You're not good enough because you're quick. You're valuable just because you're living. You are valuable just because you exist. When you move slowly, you can feel how sacred that truth is and live from it instead of always trying to show it through hard work. There will be times when the need to speed up is too great, when people around the world want answers, acts, and results right away. When that happens, remember that there aren't many real emergencies that need instant action. Most of the time, urgency is made up. Most dates are just ideas. Most fear is not necessary. And every time you choose slowness over chaos, you are showing faith, not in a perfect result, but in your own ability to handle life with wisdom, steadiness, and courage. Being slow teaches you to trust how life works, to believe that you don't have to push things to work out, to believe that you won't miss what's meant for you just because you took a moment to breathe. Honoring the cycles of your own energy teaches you to rest when you need to and act when you're ready. It teaches you to trust the natural forces of action and rest. Fear makes the mind smaller. It makes the world seem like there is only one thing to do: live, control, and fix. Being slow makes the mind bigger. It makes more options available. Watch, think, and trust. New ideas can come up in the room that slowness makes. It's possible to see new ways. There is new knowledge to be heard. Tonight, as you breathe slowly in the dark, feel for the parts of you that are still moving quickly. The old sense of need that grips your chest and the old habit that keeps calling your name. Don't judge them as you feel them. Thanks for trying to keep you safe. After that, let them soften slowly. Slow them down. Tonight, you don't have anything to prove. You don't need to hurry anywhere. You are free to go as fast as your soul wants you to really breathe, to really live, to take your time and enjoy the garden of your life, to see the flowers you would miss, hear the birds you would miss, and feel the sun's warmth you would have skipped over otherwise. The world is going to keep moving. There will be more and more deadlines. Problems will keep getting worse. You don't have to freak out when they show up, though. You can be present when you meet them by staying steady, with the kind of deep, quiet power that grows only when you move slowly enough to feel your life happen. It's possible that the things you were afraid of losing by slowing down, the chances, the respect, the wins, were never as valuable as the peace you find by returning to yourself. Let slowness be your protest, your mending, and your prayer tonight and every night after that. It can teach you how to be fully here, fully awake, and fully at peace. There is a greater meaning that you can see when you slow down and get off the fast-paced treadmill of need. You begin to understand that deep down, under all the fear, panic, and restless need for control, there is a fragile thought you have been carrying around without realizing it. The idea of who you are, the story of what you believe about yourself. You will start the quiet, powerful work of letting go of that story tonight, and you will find the freedom that lies beyond it. Your pain isn't mostly caused by what's happening. It's about what you believe it says about you. Getting rid of that story might be the best thing you ever do for your freedom. If you look at the root of most of your fears, they are not fears of pain, loss, or even death. It's being afraid of what being hurt, losing someone, or dying will say about you. Fear that going through pain will make you weak. Fear that failing will make you not worth anything. Fear that being flawed will make people not want to love you. Fear that if things change, you won't be anything at all. The mind creates a sense of self from dreams, successes, memories, and beliefs. Like a bird building a nest, it puts together an I from pieces it finds along the way. After that, it tries to keep that nest safe for as long as it lives. What if the nest isn't you, though? What if the things you tell yourself about yourself, that you are smart, brilliant, broken, unworthy, important, and invisible, are really true? Stories, temporary building projects, new ideas. What if you're more than just a label? What if you don't have a shape or sides to protect? There is no set self, as Buddhist wisdom points out in a loving and firm way. There is no solid, different me that needs to be protected at all costs. As with waves on a big ocean, there is only a flow of events, feelings, thoughts, and so on. The hurt comes when you think the waves are the ocean itself. You hold on to a picture of yourself and see every problem, insult, and setback as an attack on that picture. Every wrinkle is a problem when you think you are the body. When you think your accomplishments make you who you are, any loss feels like an insult. Every disagreement turns into a dire threat when you think you are your relationships. Every bad thought turns into a personal failure when you think you are your thoughts. Fear wraps around your heart more tightly the more attached you are to your self-story. As you let go of I, though, a new place appears. A place where you can feel pain without it making you feel bad about yourself. A place where you can fail without feeling sorry for yourself. A place where your feelings and thoughts are just guests and not the ones who live there. A place where you can breathe more deeply, love more easily, and live with less stress. You don't have to be a blank slate to let go of yourself. It doesn't mean ignoring how special or unique you are. That you understand that who you really are is bigger than any story you could tell about yourself. Being aware that the labels people, your family, past, or even your own mind have put on you are not who you are. That you understand that you are not your events, just like the waves are not the river. This has a huge effect on real life. Stress grows like weeds every day. What if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if I'm not enough? But these fears don't hurt as much when you don't hold on to a weak sense of self. Failure stops being a term and just a result. It stops being a knife to the heart when criticism is just noise. Change stops being an erasure of your presence and stops being just movement. You still care, you still feel, but you care from a deeper place than your ego, which is a weak protection. Feel softly, like someone who knows they don't really own anything, that nothing defines them, and that nothing can really hurt who they are at their core. Fortress building is always what the ego does. It puts accomplishments on top of each other like bricks. It stores praise like it's gold. It fights back against every attack like an animal that has been hurt. But the castle never makes things calm down. It makes people even more afraid. A fear of losing what was worked on, fear of not being good enough, not wanting to be seen without the armor. If you've been carrying around a heavy suit of armor for decades, letting go of your ego is like taking it off. In the beginning, it feels weak, not dressed. That's strange. But soon you'll feel free. You feel like you can move around better. Take deeper breaths. Be more honest when you talk. You'll notice that your life goes more smoothly when you're not constantly trying to protect your story, shape your image, or show your worth. This doesn't mean you stop being yourself or stop trying to get better. It means you need to stop mixing up your appearance with your real worth. It means that you grow not to fix something wrong with yourself, but because growth is fun, natural, and living. You can work on opening up every day in small ways. Keep an eye on when you feel defensive. Don't fight back right away. Instead, pause. What do you want me to protect? What part of my story does not feel safe? Take note of when you feel better or worse than others. Take a break. Why do I think this similarity is true? What false idea of being separate am I holding on to? Pay attention to when you are desperate for praise, scared of failing, or fixated on success. Take a break. Ask yourself, what do I think this will say about me if it goes wrong? Every break is like a hole in the cover. Being aware of something for a moment is a step toward freedom. You don't need to kill the ego. You don't need to start a war with it. You just need to stop giving it blind faith. Never believe a thought that says you need to be a certain way to be enough. Don't believe any fear that says your worth depends on how well you do or how poorly you do, on whether you get love or rejection. There is something that can't be shaken under the built self, something that doesn't change based on luck, something that doesn't get smaller when you lose something, something that was never in danger and doesn't need to be protected. In Buddhism, this is sometimes called your Buddha nature. Some people call it original thought, true being, or pure awareness. It's not about the words. Yes, the experience does. And this is what it's like. Peace with no conditions, no barriers for freedom. True happiness without success. Love without having anything. As you lie in bed tonight, pay attention to the little ways your mind tries to tell its story again. Pay attention to the small fear that you need to keep yourself together, protect your identity, and prove your worth. Let it go slowly after that. You're already whole. You're free already. You don't need to keep guarding a picture that was never real. You don't have to keep fighting to hold on to a story that was never really yours. You won't think the waves are the ocean if you watch them rise and fall. That deeper stream inside you that has carried you this far is something you can trust. All it wants is for you to be willing to rest in it. The mind might fight back. The mind might freak out. The mind might say that there will be nothing left without the story of I. But if you look closely and feel deeply, you will see that what is left behind when the weak self goes away is not nothing. It's everything. It's life itself, huge, no limits, waking up, and it was always with you, not even for a breath. Life gets lighter once you start to let go of the story of who you think you are. There isn't as much to fear, defend, or show. But in the place where ego starts to fall apart, there is sometimes a quiet discomfort that comes up, a slight impatience, a secret need to move around. How do I know I'm going forward if I'm not trying to be successful or create a perfect self? That's the question that runs through everything. How do I know that what I'm doing is important? Right there is where this next truth starts to grow, a truth that can calm your heart and stop it from being restless. So much pain comes from having to wait too long to see effects. But real change was never meant to happen right away. Before it ever emerges from the ground, it grows in silence, deep below. When you think you're doing everything right but nothing is happening, it's one of the worst things that can happen. People still get the wrong idea about you, even though you try to be nicer. Even though you try to heal, old habits keep coming back. Even though you try, the world stays quiet. Those are the times when doubt comes in strong and convincing. It starts to whisper that maybe it doesn't matter, that maybe nothing works, and that you should just give up. But what if the issue isn't that nothing is working? What if the trouble is that you're used to expecting things to work right away when they're supposed to take time? Modern instant satisfaction is very different from what Buddhist wisdom teaches. It teaches that everything we do sets a seed, and each seed grows in its own way and at its own time. Not at that time. It's not your time, the time of the seed. Life is not like a vending machine in that it rewards hard work. You can't just be kind and get praise right away. You can't just focus for a week and feel calm every morning. The law of karma doesn't offer happiness right away. It says effects will happen no matter what, depending on a lot of factors, some of which you can see and some of which you can't. This truth can make you feel both humble and at ease. That's because it makes you realize how little power you really have over when and how things bloom. It's comforting because it makes you feel like your work is never lost. Not a single bit of honest work is ever wasted. Nothing that you do, no matter how small, that shows you care or that you choose to do the right thing instead of the easy thing, is ever hidden from the greater currents of existence. Every act of kindness is like a seed. Seeds know how to wait too. You will be restless your whole life if you don't understand this. You'll jump from one thing to another because you want things to go faster. You'll give up just before the roots begin to grow. Because you didn't heal quickly, you'll give up on connections. Peace didn't come quickly enough, so you'll throw away your practice. You start to go in a different direction if you learn to believe the work that you can't see, the work that goes on below ground, in silence and slowly. A more stable road, a way to get there with less stress and more patience. They don't dig up their seeds every day to see if they're growing for a reason. That would only mess up the process. They water, they wait, they believe in the ground. They know that improvement isn't loud. Roots have to come before leaves. There is life in the darkness, not the other way around. You are also given this offer, to believe in things you can't see yet, to think that something that you can't see today will show up in its own time. To stop judging your success by what you see on the outside and start valuing the small changes going on inside that can't be seen or praised. This isn't just blind faith. It shows a deep understanding. It means being aware that something is real even if you can't see it. There is a tree in the seed, even if there are no leaves. Before it opens, the flower is already inside the bud. Even when your thoughts are racing, the practice is where you can find peace. You are making your future, even if you don't feel it at the time, when you choose to be kind instead of mean, patient instead of angry, and present instead of distracted. There are times when progress looks like nothing is happening. Progress can look like a lot of work at times. There are times when you change without even realizing it. There are times when the pain you're feeling isn't a sign that you're failing. Instead, it means that something inside you is shedding its old skin to make room for a more honest, grounded version of yourself to show. If you demand proof too soon, or if you say that each step must show results, you stop the process that is meant to help you. When you trust seeds, you know that your job is not to force results, but to take care of causes. Wet the ground. Be honest when you show up. Be kind when you talk. Be quiet. Let go of the results. You have nothing to do with the effects. They were never that. Your duty is to work hard without holding, to act without worrying, and to commit without being asked. This is why you start to feel less restless when you trust this process deeply. Because you don't have to ask, is it working all the time? You are no longer walking a fine line between success and failure. You constantly plant, care for, and let things happen. You become more interested in what's real and less interested in what shows. Instead of doing good things, you start being good. You stop rushing change and start letting it happen at its own pace. It's funny, but the less you worry about outcomes, the stronger your deeds become. Since they aren't tied to ego anymore, it's no longer helpful to look good. You're no longer getting bigger to show off. To live in line with truth is all it takes, and that alignment is its own reward. You start to feel at peace, not when you get there, but when you stay the same. Not in praise, but in honesty. There will still be times when you wonder. The mind will still wonder why things haven't changed yet. What's taking so long? Why doesn't anyone see how hard I'm trying? At those times, you should go back to earth. Go back to the picture of the seed in the ground. Feel how much waiting weighs on your heart. Remember that not seen does not mean not important. It's not the same thing to be invisible or useless. You might be getting better before it gets leaves. It's possible that your kindness is breaking down walls you can't see yet. You might be calming storms that haven't even begun yet with your practice. With every kind word, gentle breath, and smart choice, Something in your life is getting ready to happen. It will happen at its own pace and path. You don't have to believe in miracles right away to believe in slow change. Remember that even the largest trees started out as small things that no one saw, that every lake starts out as a single drop, that even the smartest people start by making the choice not to give up. Let that truth sink into your bones tonight. Slow down your heart rate. Don't let it hurt the part of you that is still counting, measuring, and needing proof that you are okay. You're fine. Everyone else can't see where you're going, and that's enough. It is holy that you are setting seeds in a garden that will bloom quietly. Believe it. Believe in the ground. Believe what you hear. Have faith in the time it takes. And finally, believe that good things always happen in this life or any other. Let your restlessness turn into love. Let your worry turn into hope. Allow the small things we do today to carry the weight of tomorrow's peace. The only thing left for you to do is walk, not loud. Be patient, for real. That's enough. Your restlessness goes away as you learn to trust the seeds you plant, even if no one else sees them grow. You don't have to force life to happen on your timetable anymore because something deeper has made you aware. Waiting. Still, waiting opens a new door that only a few people are taught to use. It's not as loud as confidence or as calm as peace. It's what happens when the mind is at peace with what is and the heart stops fighting. That doorway is respect, and going through it can change the way you see life in general. Respect isn't a sign of weakness. When you stop trying to run your life and start respecting it, this is what happens. And with that easy change, something starts to soften that worry could never reach. There's a peace that comes from giving up on things you can't change instead of trying to fix them. Not in loss, not when there is no hope. But please be quiet. Although reverence is one of the best things for the heart, it's not something that people do very often these days. Life is something that most people are taught to think about, fight with, argue about, and want to be different. But no one tells you how to kneel in front of it, not as a servant, but as someone who is finally humble enough to know that they are a part of something much bigger than their own goals. Everything changes when respect comes into the mind. You need to stop judging life from above. You stop controlling it from the outside. You change your stance, but not in a physical way. Instead, you change your spiritual, emotional, and mental state. A bowed position, to become softer, of being aware that you don't need to know everything to fit in here, that getting peace doesn't mean you have to win every fight. Even though life doesn't owe you anything, you still get to wake up every day in the middle of it all. Where pride ends, reverence starts. I know better, says pride. She says, I will listen. Arrogance grows stronger, opens with reverence. Arrogance fights back. Respect is given. Giving in to presence, knowledge, and the pulse of life itself is not giving up. It's what happens when you look at a tree and feel like it's holy instead of just a pretty sight. And when you eat, you stop seeing it as food and start seeing it as a gift. When you stop ignoring it and take a deep breath, you'll see that it is also a gift. The idea that life is something to be conquered is one of the main causes of human pain. That every moment needs to be evaluated, compared, and made better. That every problem is an enemy. Every fault is something that isn't right. That trend is broken by reverence. It doesn't fix everything, but it takes away the desire to fix things. It helps you remember that not all broken things need to be fixed. There are some things that must be seen. There are things that need to be blessed. You have to live some things. There is a long history of bowing in Buddhist practice, both outwardly and mentally. Giving teachers a bow, giving in to the Dharma, giving in to the pain you carry, giving in to the parts of yourself that you used to reject. Not as a way to worship, but as a way to be humble. Of facing the fact that you don't run the world and never were. That it's okay that you aren't the source of everything. In the deepest sense, giving up is not defeat. It is involvement. It means accepting life as it is, with an open heart instead of a closed fist. You're not small when you bow like this. It makes you real. With it, the show is taken away. Reverence calms the rebellious part of you that keeps saying, "This shouldn't be happening." It lets you breathe even when you don't know what's going on. It helps you trust even when pain shows up out of the blue. It makes you feel safe, not because life is always the same, but because your heart doesn't have to fight every surprise it comes across. When there is no respect, anxiety grows. Our nervous system stays on high alert when we think of life as random, aggressive, or mechanical, or when we think of it as something we can control or trick. But when you see life as something to respect, bow down to, and lightly touch, your nervous system starts to feel supported by something much older than fear, something you don't have to be, know, or do everything for that to work. Something that just wants you to stay in the present and honor the moment. There are many ways to show that respect. It could be how you put down your phone when someone is talking to you. You might take a moment to watch the wind blow through the trees instead of moving on to the next thing. In this case, it could be how you treat your own pain as holy rather than shameful. Some people speak less harshly when their inner critic starts to talk more, not because they are weak, but because respect has made them smarter. When you show reverence, everyday things become holy. It turns pain into a way in. It makes the unknown into a teacher. The moment you bow down, not to someone, but to the fact that you don't know everything, you feel free in a way that being in charge could never do. You no longer need things to go your way. You start to follow it, without being passive or blind, but with an openness that can hold wonder without falling apart. You don't have to say no all the time. Honor is not the same as submission. You're not giving up your rights. It doesn't stand for harm or unfairness. Respect includes being very clear. It has the strength to say no with love. It can set limits in a kind way. It's not about keeping quiet. It's about being honest without being cocky. It means I speak out not because I want power, but because I want the truth. It starts with how you handle your own life, how you get up in the morning, how you talk to yourself when you look in the mirror, how you eat while sitting down, the way you breathe before you answer. You treat your old face or your hurt heart with kindness instead of contempt. For reverence, you don't need big ceremonies. It wants you to be there. Look at it again, but this time don't judge what you see. Instead, look with wonder. If you've been having anxiety problems and your heart is tired from all the trying, fixing, and aiming, think about this. Maybe you don't need more plans, but more bowing. Put more room between your ideas, more holy stops. Let go of more things and just enjoy life as it is. You might not need to understand everything. Maybe all you need to do is kneel in the unknown and pray with your breath. Let that kind of humility help you rest tonight. Not the kind that makes you small, but the kind that just holds you. Let yourself bow, but don't do it to give up. Do it to get back to what is real. Say to yourself, I don't know everything, and I don't need to. I'm not above this life. I'm a part of it, and I will treat it with respect instead of anger. It's not your enemy when you rebel and think, this isn't fair, this isn't right, this should be different. That part of you that is still afraid to trust. Putting faith in life's timing, to believe in the wisdom of life, to believe that even the mess and the trouble have a purpose as well. Honor is the way to calm that revolt. It shouldn't be shut down, it should be welcomed, by holding it like a kid who doesn't know they're safe yet. And the more you live this way, the more your whole being changes. You no longer need to be sure. You don't have to be right. You no longer need everything to make sense right away. Being soft makes you strong. Giving up makes you brave. And being present makes you at peace. You talk less, walk more slowly, and listen more carefully. You stop fighting life and start walking with it. And while they walk, something very unusual takes place. It starts to carry you. You stop wanting answers and start listening to quiet more and more as you learn to treat life with respect instead of resistance. Another part of the self starts to fall away in that silence. Not just the habit of fighting what is, but also the fixation on where you want to go next. The next goal, the next big step forward, the next moment that finally makes everything worth it. But what if you were never meant to get to that place you've been chasing your whole life? The peace that you know you'll get when you get there. Once you stopped running, it was always there for you. Chronic unhappiness is the cause of almost all types of stress in people. How you know that right now is not enough. That this is just a stop on the way to something better. Peace, happiness, rest, and a sense of being worthy live just a little further down the road. This is called destination addiction. The idea that achieving one goal will bring relief. Just one change away, one cut got better. But when you chase that illusion, you miss your own life, which is terrible. You don't wake up to live, but to reach. The hours pass by you like they are things that are stopping you from having a better day. You're trying to get to a place in your mind where you'll finally feel whole, safe, and like you don't need anything else. But that spot changes all the time. The finish line changes every time you get close. Since it never happened. It was just a trick of the mind, a dream about the future that only works when you're not in the present. The mind is very good at making you believe that peace will come later. When you get that fixed, when they understand you, when things are safe in your life, but things never stay the same for long. Something always breaks, takes too long, or lets you down. There is always something new to deal with. So the chase goes on, never-ending, tiring, and pointless. You can move jobs, partners, homes, and opinions, but if you stay in a destination mindset, you'll always feel empty. Buddhism looks right at this trap with a fierce kindness. It has the words, "There is no arrival." This is the only thing. Right now, this breath, this version of you, which is both broken and whole. Everything won't just fall into place at some point in the future. Nobody has ever been you who will never have to deal with problems again. The idea of arriving is just another word for pain. This is a polite way to say, I can't be happy yet. Some amazing things happen when you really let go of the need to get there. You can't carry as much weight. The worry loosens its grip. The air gets longer. The heart gets bigger. You're not trying to buy your way into a better time anymore. Your life is no longer something you buy and sell. You're finally living it. You won't stop growing because of this. It means you grow when you are present, not when you are under a lot of stress. You can still have plans. You can still make changes. The trip stops being a mad dash, though, and starts to unfold. You no longer say, I'll love myself when. Instead, you say, I choose to be with myself now, even as I grow. You also stop saying, I'll rest when this is over, instead saying, I can rest right now. You stop saying, I need to prove something, instead saying, nothing is missing. Being aware that you don't have to earn coming brings a deep sense of peace, since you never left home to begin with. Looking for something was the distraction. The trying was the trick. This doesn't mean that your dreams are pointless, though, because they aren't a pain anymore. It makes them more beautiful, inviting people to come, not to run away, but to experience, share, and grow. When you don't have a goal addiction, you don't ask yourself, how close am I to being done? And start to ask yourself, how fully am I living now? You start to enjoy the view as you climb and stop rushing to the top of every mountain. You stop waiting for other people to agree with your journey and start going on it with a steady heart. If you act like you're not enough, you lose a lot of energy. There is a lot of pressure to grow into something bigger than what you are now. Peace doesn't live in stress, though. It lives in being there. In the peace of knowing that life isn't waiting for you to get there, it wants you to take part. This has been said in different ways by each spiritual group, that heaven is not ahead of time. It's right here. There is no other place for that happiness. It is now, below the holding on. This knowledge is not found after years of perfection. It is shown to you as soon as you stop running away from yourself. This road isn't about lowering the bar. It's about getting rid of the poison that's inside them. The drug that says, I'm less if I don't do this. The drug that tells me I'll be late if I don't get there soon. You lose your heritage when you think that way. You have the right to be happy even when things are crazy. The right to feel good about yourself without a prize. You should be able to breathe without having to check a box. You pick up your life when you chuck the goal. The real one. The one who has been quietly waiting behind the dreams of the future. The one that looks, tastes, and feels different because it's here. You need to stop skipping ahead. You must stop changing. Stop putting on shows for people who don't exist. Birds are singing again. For no reason, you start to cry. It doesn't take a joke to make you laugh. Your sense of what it's like to be living starts to return. There will still be fear. It will ask, what if I get behind? What if I don't make it? What if I miss out if I let go? Fear is not the enemy. It's the last trace of the lie. The false idea that you were only valuable if you changed into someone else. The truth isn't as loud. It waits, though. It waits for you to stop long enough to hear it whisper, You're not behind. You're not hurt. You're not finished. You're already at home. You can still go ahead. You can still think and see things. But now you move with calm instead of fear. With happiness, not shame. Not with guilt, but with grace. When it feels light, you can run. When it feels right, you can rest. You don't have to rush through life. Instead, you can let it grow at its own pace. As you get ready to sleep tonight, think about whether or not a part of you is still following, still checking on the work, still need to be done. That part is not a fight. Hold it. Take a deep breath. Gently remind it that we're no longer trying to get there. We're here. This breath is where you want to be. The reward is this silence. It's enough for now to be quiet. And the more you do this, the clearer it becomes. You were never meant to be someone else. Don't wait. You are meant to become fully yourself right now. Not exactly, but right now. That being there is the peace you've been looking for all along. You start to breathe in a way you haven't felt in years when you finally stop chasing the false idea that you are there. There is stillness beneath everything, like water that isn't moving beneath a fast-moving stream. But as the peace comes, you can see something else more clearly. Your feelings are still rising and falling like waves. They are still there even after you stop running. That's when you need another level of wisdom, not being able to control how you feel, but being able to hold it all with a steady presence. You'll learn how to do that tonight without getting drowned. The storm inside you was never meant to take over. It never asked you to be it. It only asked you to see it. Many of us hurt deeply, not because of the things we feel, but because of the fights we fight against those feelings. When we feel a storm in our minds, like sadness, fear, or annoyance, we act right away. We try to fix it, figure it out, hide it, or dull it. We make ourselves ready to refuse and fight. But it seems like the storm gets stronger as we fight. It takes over our lives more and more the more we try to stop it. We often forget that feelings are not fixed things. They're not really walls. They're weather. The weather changes all the time. One of the most freeing things to learn about Buddhism is that your feelings are not who you are. They are short-lived events, short-term states. There are clouds in the sky. The sea has waves. They show up. They leave. They won't last forever, and they don't make you who you are. While you can feel angry, you don't have to be angry, and you don't have to break to go through sadness. It's possible to feel anxious without letting it kill you. But you have to let go of what feels good and stop being afraid of what feels heavy in order to do that. Stop connecting with what is going away and start securing yourself in what is still there. What's left is the knowledge behind the weather, the calm before the storm. It doesn't have to fight, fix, or push anything. It only sees. It just lets. This way of seeing is not lazy. It's strong, because it breaks the loop of reacting and reacting. It makes room between the feeling of emotion rising and the urge to act on it. That area is very important. Peace lives there. You don't have to change how you feel. All you have to do is see them well, to feel them without getting attached to them, to let them go through you like wind through trees. The tree doesn't stand up to the wind. It bends. It doesn't move. The tree will still be there when the wind dies down. You can also learn to stay grounded even when things are hard. The first step is to name what's here. not to judge, but to understand. Do not say, I am angry, but anger is here. Do not say, I am anxious, but anxiety is passing through. This small change makes a big difference. It helps you remember that feelings are guests, not residents, that they don't own you, that you are the space where they show up, not the feeling itself. When you're sad, don't run away or drown in it. Instead, sit next to it. Pay attention. Find out what it needs. Take a hold of it like you would a scared child. Not to get rid of it, but to let it know it's not by itself. Instead of getting stronger when you feel scared, soften up. Take deeper breaths. Pay attention to how it makes you feel. Pay attention to what your body does. Watch without making a story. Look at it move. Don't hold on to happiness because you're afraid it will go away. Instead, let it flow freely. Enjoy it without wanting it to last. Bow down to it when it goes. Thankfulness without having anything. When we try to keep the storms of feeling going or get rid of them, they turn into pain. When we seek pleasure or freak out in pain. But they will go away if you stay still in the middle of your awareness and let them. No feeling ever lasts forever, not even the worst ones, not even the most pretty ones. It's impossible to hold sunlight in your hands when you try to freeze a feeling. It was never meant to be kept. It was meant to be felt and let go of. It's simple to do, but not easy. At times when you'd rather sleep, you have to stay awake for it. That you take slow breaths when you want to tense up. That you are kind to the feelings you were taught to be ashamed of. That you don't try to heal too quickly, hide your sadness, or act like everything is fine just to make other people feel better. There will be days when the sky is clear. There are days when the clouds come in quickly. But the sky never says anything. It doesn't have to. It knows the storm is only staying for a short time. Being aware of things is like that sky. Know how to keep an eye on your feelings and thoughts without getting caught up in them. It's possible to feel them rise, peak, and fall. There is a natural end to all feelings, even the strongest ones. They become less strong if you don't give them more to think about or keep them in a story. They get through. They leave things clear. In their wake, they leave a quiet strength. There will be times when the feeling is too strong and being present seems impossible. It's all right. Even being aware comes in waves. This is not a perfect process. It's back. Bring your attention back to the breath. Go back to the body. Get back to the simple truth. This mood will go away. This moment will end. It doesn't have to be a story about who I am either. You're not your sadness. You're not afraid of anything. Remember that you are not your anger. You are not being alone. All of these things can be found in you. Weather is not what you are, but what you see. This truth will become your base over time. You stop being afraid of how you feel. You don't have to be in charge of every inner change anymore. You stop freaking out when things get uncomfortable. You know deep down that nothing stays. Everything moves all the time. Being still is not the same thing as not feeling anything. It means being able to feel without holding on. To let life pass you by without letting it change how valuable you are. Many times, some feelings come back. They come to your door like they've been there before. Don't turn them away or welcome them without thinking. Just greet them with awareness. Take what they say to heart. Allow them to talk. After that, let them go. Anger isn't always a message. There are some feelings that don't need a justification. Some people just need room. Some people just need time. Tonight, as you lie in bed alone in the dark, pay attention to how you feel. Do not call them weak or wrong. Do not try to fix them. Just pay attention. Just let them be. Allow them to move as they please. Let them go. They always do. You get stronger by doing this over and over again. You don't get hard and unbreakable, but soft and unbreakable. Storms can happen, but they are good at getting through them. This is the freedom that comes from letting your mind handle the storm. Not getting control of all your feelings, but learning not to be afraid of them. It's not about being perfect. It's about letting yourself feel without forgetting who you are. Peace doesn't mean being quiet. It means a lot of space. The room inside you where all of your feelings can go and come back without you having to lock the door. You're not the storm. You're the sky. The sky is free all the time. Finding a kinder way to live starts to become clear once you realize that your feelings are just temporary and not what makes you who you are. No longer do you have to fight every wave or be afraid of every cloud. But on the other side of that perception is something even softer. Not take charge. No, not skill. It's just thanks. A quiet, grounded gratitude that doesn't come from having everything go perfectly, but from realizing what was always there. When you stop looking for something unbelievable to happen and start seeing the everyday as unbelievable, the door to peace opens wider. We'll go there next. You're already whole. You only need to get a better view of what you already have. Some people are blind, not because of their eyes, but because of their minds. One that doesn't see a single one of the 1,000 small miracles that happen every day. It's being blind and forgetting to see. I forgot to notice how warm the sunlight through the window was. I forgot to pay attention to the laughter coming from down the hall. You forget to pay attention to how your breath is rising and falling steadily, over and over again. It's not that we're not thankful that we forget. We do it because we've been told to find happiness in loud places, in terms of success, as it arrives, in the most amazing. And while we wait for something big to surprise us, we miss the little kind things that are already getting us through. Being grateful is not a show, especially in a Buddhist sense. On this list, you don't write down good things to do. You can't force that mood when everything is going wrong. It's a way to see, a change from looking for problems to looking for gifts. A shift in focus, not to get away from pain, but to see completeness in the midst of it. Being thankful doesn't mean that everything is fine. For something to be good, it doesn't have to be great. And this change can start to quiet the worry that many people carry around with them without realizing it. When you always think about what's missing, you're more likely to worry. That thought is trained to find problems, fix them, and know what to expect. It goes through the day and finds things that didn't happen, things that could go wrong, and things that aren't working. You can train that mind to see things differently, like what's present instead of what's missing, what's working instead of what's broken, and what's beautiful instead of what needs to be done right away. Then a quiet change starts to happen. It doesn't take away your fears. They are not as loud now. Now there is another voice in the room, not just theirs. Small things can be the start of this change. A cup of hot water, the way your feet feel on the ground, being able to take a big breath without any pain. There is some light coming in through the corner of the window. How soft a pillow is that you put your head on. These aren't very exciting, but each one is just a small way out of worry. A thread that connects the past to the present. A note to remember that some things are still okay, even though other things aren't. Minds that are stressed out are always getting ready for a future that might never come. Being thankful stops this progress. Stop reading it. Look at this. This is going on now. You are now living. You can now breathe. You are being held now, even when you don't know what to say, even if you don't know what the day will bring. There is still something here that is up for grabs. It gets bigger as you pay more attention to it. It's not because the world changes, but because of how you interact with it. A lot of the time, Buddhist masters talk about how powerful it is to be happy, but being happy doesn't mean settling down. It has to do with seeing clearly. When you stop waiting for everything to be just right, you understand that peace is made up of everyday things. You start to taste life again, not the big highs, but the sweet flavor that was always there, hidden by all the noise. You start to think that maybe you don't need to run away right now. This moment might be enough. Being grateful in this way turns into a habit, not a feeling. There will be days when you feel heavy. You won't be thankful. It will be noisy in your head. Your body is tired. You have little patience. Being thankful is still alive here. Not because it has to be done, but because it could be. You don't have to fake a smile or hide your pain. You only need to ask yourself, is there anything I can still enjoy right now? And if the answer is yes, even in a small way, you have already taken the first step toward a calmer, more stable life. Pain can be so loud at times that everything else seems far away. There are times when your sadness makes you unable to see anything but loss. That's not the time to list all the good things in your life. What it means is not giving up on what is true. It's about letting one nice thing happen, one soft breeze, or one ray of sunshine tell you that the world isn't all bad. It's about bowing down to something, anything, even when your heart is broken. Not to happiness, but to perspective. Gratitude becomes a lifesaver. Everything changes now. This is because a mind that is stressed likes to exaggerate. It reads, "Nothing works. Everything is going wrong. I'm not okay." But thankfulness shuts that voice down. That's all it says. It doesn't say much. Something is still working. There is still order in the world. You're still here. You don't have to make that sound loud. It only needs to be steady. It becomes the thing that keeps you from moving too far away over time. Being grateful doesn't need to happen in a special place. It doesn't take more time or effort. It only needs your care. What have I been ignoring? You have to stop in the middle of your life and ask yourself this question. What beautiful things have I missed? What kind of peace did I put off because I wanted something bigger? If you really ask that, life will start to answer. Not when there are fireworks, but with specifics. These little things give you a base to stand on, even when the rest of the world seems unstable. Being thankful also makes comparison less harsh. You don't need what other people have to show your worth when you're grateful for what you already have. Stop comparing the best parts of your life to those of other people. You stop looking for pictures and start being present. And this doesn't mean you give up your dreams or ambitions. It means you're not scared of being where you are anymore. You're no longer embarrassed by your path. You can see the good in the world again, even when things are hard. When you choose to be thankful for small things instead of big things, you are making your mind stronger against sadness. You are building inner paths that don't fall apart when things don't go as planned. You are teaching your heart to stay open even when things aren't clear. This isn't spiritual filler either. This is living. That's strength. People get through the worst winters by seeing enough light to keep going, not by acting like everything is fine. This is what you should do tonight. Not to fix anything, not to look for anything, but to pay attention. To pay attention to what your mind has missed while it has been looking for more. To pay attention to what your heart still holds after everything. To quietly pay attention to the ground beneath you, your breath, and the flow of life through you. Being thankful doesn't need a reason. All you need is the will to see. You start to understand that peace was always close when you start to see. It was always sitting next to you, waiting for you to notice it. As your eyes get better and your thanks brings you back to the richness of the present moment, you slowly become aware of another part of yourself that still thinks things should be happening faster. There is a quiet stress under the surface that you need life to go according to your plans, even when you start to notice beauty and take pleasure in small things. That clock inside you that never stops. The stress that everything is taking too long. But stress doesn't make peace grow. It gets better with time. Now you'll start to understand that. It might not be because something is wrong if it hasn't happened yet. It could be because something is still growing down there. A certain kind of pain doesn't come from what life gives you, but from how quickly you think it should have given it. If your mind tells you it's taking too long, even if you're in the middle of something deeply important, it can feel like a failure. There is more stress when you're not healing quickly enough, when your plans don't work out, or when your growth doesn't show up when you think it will. And that stress can break everything that was holy before. The trip becomes too much. The work turns into shame. It's not that the present moment is really bad. It's just that it hasn't turned out the way your mind said it would. People have always had trouble with time. Linear growth is what it believes in. It believes in set due dates. That's what it wants. It wants results to come after work on a schedule that can be predicted. That's not how things work in real life, though. Don't tell nature to bloom faster. It will bloom on its own. Even if you water the tree more, it won't get bigger. Just because you're tired of hurting doesn't mean the healing is done. You can't make the friendship grow faster just because you've worked on yourself. Life isn't a machine. It's a puzzle. And secret moves at its own pace. This is why giving up on your timeline is not giving up. It's growing up. It means realizing that you can't rush through the most important things, that you can't force the most lasting changes to happen. The real work is often hard to see for a long time. In the dark, seeds do their most important work. Before anything grows above the ground, the roots get stronger. It's also true for you. You are going through changes right now that you can't measure. You're getting wiser in a way that can't be dated, getting stronger in the quiet. But if you want outcomes too badly, you might miss it. You might give up too soon. Because it didn't grow fast enough, you might throw away something lovely. You might jump into things before they're ready or leave things that were about to bloom. It's not the moment itself that makes you anxious. It's the thought of the moment you thought you should be in by now. This is why having the guts to let things happen is not a sign of weakness. It comes from a strong heart. It takes patience to be open to confusion without wanting things to end right away. Being in the middle of becoming takes trust. Being aware of not being behind takes a lot of smarts. You're not behind schedule. It's not that you miss your life. You are just in the middle of a process that goes beyond your plan. Giving up on schedules means giving up the idea that you can only feel safe when things happen in a certain order. It means being open to the idea that what's going on right now might not be a wait, but a getting ready. Not a punishment, but a cutting back. It wasn't a loss, it was a base. The story is still going on. The middle is not the end. You still don't see the whole picture. When you let go in this way, it doesn't mean you stop caring. Don't clench your teeth. It means you show up without putting too much pressure on every moment. It means you let life surprise you, to show you, to move in ways you didn't think possible. It means you start to understand that things that are worth having won't always come at the time or in the way you thought they would. You realize that being in charge doesn't make you safe. It makes you stressed. That stress is not helpful. It's poison. That the peace inside you doesn't depend on what happens. It can start as soon as you stop trying to change this moment into something else. You can breathe again when you live this way. You need to slow down during conversations. You should no longer base your growth on other people's schedules. You no longer look every day for signs that you're getting nearer to something. You just live, completely, please, for real. You did not try to change any of the experiences, but instead let them be what they were. That change is where freedom starts. Trying to make the wind blow faster is no longer a waste of time. You look at how you're standing in it. Don't try to make the waves go faster. Instead, learn how to move with them. You need to stop blaming life for not going the way you want it to and start taking part in the way it is going. This doesn't mean being passive either. It means to line up. It means to work with life instead of against it. Honoring your work and the seasons at the same time. It means having faith in your path, but also giving up control of the speed. It takes time for the rain that feeds the roots to get to the fruit. If you pick too early, the fruit won't be fully ripe. Being present while you wait will make the time worth it. It's not just about results or goals, it's about everything. It takes time to heal. Slow changes happen in relationships. It takes time to forgive someone. Self-trust grows as you use it. It takes a lot of small steps for confidence to grow. Everyday work doesn't make something last. When you stop rushing through the journey, though, it turns into a treat. No longer are you waiting for them to show up. You are enjoying each step. Not only that, but things often go more smoothly once you stop wanting them to happen quickly. Not because life gives in to your wants, but because you stop fighting it. You are no longer making the process tighter. You're going with the flow, and the key to success is flow, not force. There will be times when doubt comes back, when you think nothing is going to change, when you look at yourself again, when old stress comes to the door. That's when the practice really starts. At that point, you remember that the stress is not from life. It comes from the story you're telling yourself. You don't have to believe. You can just breathe. If you don't want to speed up, you can soften. Trust instead of getting tight. That should be your prayer tonight. Not to get there faster, but don't try to escape where you are, not to go ahead. To be honest and present right now, though. Take a moment to rest in this present moment. Give this time in your life your full attention, even if it doesn't look like what you thought it would. Don't think about the watch anymore. Don't listen to that person that says it's taking too long. Don't hold on to the lie that your worth will come to you later. You're not behind schedule. You're not lost. You are right where the next lesson is waiting for you. As you let go of the strict deadlines that were putting so much stress on you, something strange starts to open up in you. You make more space for life to happen, more space for uncertainty, and finally, more space for other people. But there's still one more spot where stress hides. Not in how you treat yourself, but in how well you handle other people. You may no longer be in charge of your own life, but your mind may still be very focused on other people's decisions, actions, and feelings. And tonight, we start the process of letting go of that too. You don't have to fix everything that hurts. When you finally take a step back, you can find some peace. In relationships, there is a kind of pain that is kept hidden and grows over time. There's no scream. Sometimes it doesn't even feel like pain. It seems like worry, like having to do things, like taking care of. There is a trap, though, hidden beneath that worry, the idea that other people need to change for you to feel better, that they need to change how they act, change the way you talk, make a new choice, get better, faster, talk to each other more, pick the right thing, say sorry, grow, get it. Do what you want them to do over and over again. You hurt when they don't. You are in pain because deep down you are still dealing with some kind of influence that looks like love. You are putting your needs, complaints, and sense of urgency into other people's lives. It's not your pain that you're carrying around, and you call it kindness. You want to change someone else's path because you think it will make things better for both of you. It never does, though, since peace doesn't live in power, it lives on trust. The truth is that trying to control other people makes you feel more anxious and let down. You look at their mood to figure out your own. To feel safe, you wait for them to confirm it. You think about what they said, why they did what they did, and play back what they said. You try to guess what they will do next and hope that it matches your guess. But this work doesn't bring us closer. It makes things tense. It doesn't make a link. It makes people angry. It doesn't free anyone. It forces you both into roles that you don't really want. Not getting involved is not cold. It's not a passivity. Not in the empty sense of the word. It's love without holding on tight. It's care that you can't control. Being quiet and sure that everyone has their own karma to walk, their own timing to respect, and their own unfolding to live through is a quiet strength. You don't have to rule over the people you love to truly love them. When you try to control them, that's what stops the love from flowing easily. You can still make rules. You can still tell the truth. You can still say no if something goes against what you believe in. But you no longer try to control how someone feels and how they change. You're not taking on their duty like it's your own. You don't have to take their pain like it's your own. Because you want to feel safe, you don't force them to go somewhere else. You just let them be where they are. This change starts in the mind, not in the actions. Some ideas that are used as weapons are, "They shouldn't be like this," or "If they really cared, they'd do this differently." These thoughts may seem reasonable at first, but they're really just weapons. They keep you in a circle of judgment. They let someone else handle your peace. And they will always make you feel helpless in the end. Not getting in the way doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you give up having power. It means you let other people choose their own way with honor. It means you will listen more and push less. That means you stop carrying around an emotional checklist and judging someone's love by how well they meet your needs. They become more clear to you, not as the person you wish they were, but as the person they really are. And being clear gives you freedom. Your happiness is no longer tied to how well they get along. You can let other people struggle without letting it hurt you. People can disagree with you without making you feel unwanted. You can be whole even if other people are unreliable, flawed, and human. In this case, you don't let people hurt you. It doesn't mean you have to stay where no one respects you. You should stop trying to fix things that aren't yours, though. Stop spending your time trying to change how someone else grows. When you learn how to step back, you do it in peace, not anger. You understand that giving room is sometimes the most loving thing you can do. There is room for other people to learn. There is room for you to stop doing emotional work for other people. Space for truth to come up on its own without being pushed. Over-functioning emotionally or taking on work that someone else should do is one of the main reasons people get burned out. Trying to take charge of how they feel, what they do, and how they react. However, you are not being kind when you live this way. You are being eaten up. You're not being helpful. You're wearing out. And the anger that builds up here hurts both you and the relationship over time. Letting go doesn't mean you don't want something. It shows respect. Take care of your own health. Please honor their way. Respect the mystery of change, which can happen in ways you can't plan or guess. You start to feel a kind of inner room you forgot existed when you stop getting in the way. The room to breathe, to get some rest. I want to love without trying, to be close to people without in charge of them, to see pain without having to handle its closure. You start to understand that everyone is going through their own problems and reasons. They need time to see things they couldn't see before, just like you did. They'll fight the truth until they're ready to face it, just like you did. Stop trying to change them too quickly. You should stop trying to save them. You remember that sometimes being there with calmness is more helpful than giving advice right away. Something amazing starts to happen when that person is there. People start to connect to you from a place of peace instead of stress, due to interest, not judgment. Not out of fear, but trust. You can relax now that you don't need everyone else to be okay first. You can feel safe without them having to be like you. Instead of telling them they have to live their life like you start to enjoy how different everyone is and how beautiful that is when we stop fighting it. You may still really care. You may still feel bad when someone you care about is having a hard time. But the pain is no longer fear. It's not a call to action anymore. It feels good to know that everyone has a hard life and that you can be kind without being bossy. You can love someone even if you don't save them. You don't have to lose your heart to stay present. As you breathe and think tonight, pay attention to the parts of someone else's story that are still interesting to you. Think about the people you feel like should be different, who should have changed by now, who should be more open, who should be more aware. Take note of how tired you are from carrying something that wasn't yours. After that, kindly set it down. There is no way for you to control when other people grow. You're not in charge of making their movie. Remember that you are just another actor doing your best, learning your lines, and following your own story. Allow them to be who they are. Let them walk the way they want to. Allow yourself to become more open to their process. You start to breathe in a different way as soon as you let go of the urge to judge. One that isn't tied to how things turn out for them. One that doesn't fall apart every time they let you down. One that doesn't fall apart and can hold room. You find something you thought you had to fight for in that beat. Peace, not because everything is set, but because you don't need it to be anymore. Some part of you starts to breathe deeper when you let other people be themselves without getting in the way. It's like the energy you use to try to change, fix, or convince someone is now coming back to you. In no way does it mean your heart gets smaller. It means that your power grows. You are no longer a shield in front of other people. You are now room. This space isn't empty in a lonely way, though. In a holy way, it's empty. This is where the next shift starts. The ego starts to get less tight. There is less noise now. Also, you start to see how life flows through you best when you're not trying to be anything. When you stop trying to be wise, wise things start to flow through you. Some kinds of quiet are stronger than words. Not nothingness, but a kind of emptiness that is open. This is not the silence of loss. It's the empty space of being ready. The state where nothing sticks to anything, and because of that, everything moves. Often used in spiritual traditions to describe someone who has let go of their ego so much that they become a vessel for something bigger than themselves. This is what it means to become an empty bamboo. The wood doesn't make noise by itself. It's not interesting because of its color or style. What makes it sing is that it's empty. The empty room inside is what turns breath into music. As well, it's not how much someone knows or how loud they talk that makes them a channel for wisdom, peace, and clarity. It's how little they try to stop life from moving through them, how they don't have a fixed personality. They act so full of themselves that it's funny, how they don't have to be impressive to be good. Our minds teach us to give ourselves thoughts, jobs, beliefs, defenses, and identities. People say that someone who is strong is full of ideas, plans, and certainty. But the truth can't get in when you're already full. Intuition has no place to talk. There is no way for kindness to get through. You become thick, stiff, and unable to move. A crowded mind doesn't lead to wisdom. It goes up in the clearings, the times you're not trying to be someone else or fighting with the world. These are the times you are just open and still. This openness isn't a passive thing. It's living. It's awake. It's the stillness before you do something or speak. It listens better than it talks. It gets more than it asks for. It's in this stillness that understanding starts to move. As something you make up, not as something that goes through you, like air moving through reeds. Stop cutting in front of the music to become like hollow bamboo. To stop being in charge of every note. To stop adding your own fear to every moment of silence. Giving up the need to lead the talk is something you did. You gave up the urge to show how valuable you are. You let go of the urge to step in when life tells you to take a step back. You don't go away, you become more real. You can be honest when you don't have to worry about being right. You can be honest without the weight of trying to be smart. Being seen takes away your armor, making you clear enough for life to shine through. Not because you answer their questions, but because you don't add to their noise. People start to feel calm around you. You're making room. It's not like you want attention. You're becoming quiet enough for them to hear their own voice getting clearer. Feeling empty inside doesn't mean you don't care about anything. It means that it's available. It means you're not stuck in what you've already said. You don't feel tied to being the teacher. You're not hooked on being the healer, the hero, or the expert. When you walk into a moment, you don't need it to prove who you are, which lets you react not from your ego, but from your presence. From this spot comes every great lesson. This exposure leads to all acts of kindness. Giving is only possible when you don't hold on to anything. You can only serve if you don't have anything to prove. You can only love when you're not trying to keep up a project. You turn into a tank the more you empty yourself, and the more you turn into a vessel, the less you bump into the world. Thoughts that say, "This moment should serve me," are caused by ego. Thoughts that say, "Let me serve this moment," are caused by emptiness. Service does not mean suffering. It means that it's available. It means showing up with nothing planned. That you don't always think about what's best for you and let life pass through you. It's not easy. The ego doesn't want to be empty. It needs to be heard. It wants to be praised. It needs to be right. It wants to be in charge. So it doesn't want to be quiet. Every moment is filled with interpretation, every pause with fear, and every encounter with blame. But the more you think about this, the heavier ego becomes. It gets louder as you listen. How full up it is. It's really hard to always feel like you need to be someone important, and something softens in the end. You don't need to battle your ego. You don't need to make it look bad. You stop having so much faith in it. Stop letting it run things. Don't give it the mic anymore. The noise gets through and you don't connect. You make your own quiet stronger. It's not a blank nothingness, but a holy space, a room where wisdom can come in without running into anything. From this spot, it's easier to make choices, not because things are simple, but because your personality is no longer making life hard. You don't have to feel bad about saying yes or no. You don't have to put on a show to tell the truth. You don't have to post about your happiness to feel it. It's possible to live your life without constantly telling people about it. You start to lose the self you thought you had to protect, and a greater presence takes its place. One that doesn't hold on, push, or pull. This is what it means to be empty. Not useless or inactive, but willing to listen. You don't have to give very smart answers. When you need it, you need to be clear enough to let knowledge rise. You don't have to carry everything. People should be able to stand close to you without getting crushed. You don't need to know everything. Life is telling you something right now. All you have to do is be still. And your relationships change when you live this way. People don't feel as judged. They feel like someone is seeing them. Not by someone better than you, but by someone who can't compare you to anyone else. We lose the sharp edges of our conversations. The fights get less violent. You're not trying to change what will happen or protect your reputation anymore. You're just here now. Others also relax when you're around. You hold room that heals, not because of what you say, but because of what you don't do. You're not adding your own fear to their story. You aren't putting your past into their future. You're not breaking the quiet with your thoughts. You're just being here without any noise. Let yourself be that kind of space tonight. Allow yourself to feel calm when you don't need to know everything. Let go of the heavy shield of always being smart, impressive, and right. Let yourself breathe into the empty space, the soft, empty place where life flows easily. You're not a finished piece of art. You are an open line. You're not the only way. You are a question that lives. You're not the tune. You play the flute. And the song sounds better through you when you don't try to control it. Allow the wind to go through. Allow the silence to talk. Let life pass through your hands. You can feel how much lighter life is when you don't try to be the source of everything. This happens when your ego lets go and you stop pushing yourself to be wise. If you don't try to build a personality, you become a space that life flows through naturally. But even in that peace, there is still a deep-seated need for more that needs to be repaired. The stress to improve, build up, and get better. Tonight, you'll start the slow, bold process of letting go of that stress and learning to stay still in the beauty of enough. If you always want more, you'll miss the life you have right now. Today's world is very restless, and it's not because people have failed. This feeling comes from thinking that what you have now, who you are, what you've done, and how you feel, is not enough. In the background, there's a soft voice that says, more will finally be the answer. A little more cash, a little more attention, just a little more sure, a little more love. Everything makes sense. But the truth is that more will never be enough if you don't learn to value what you already have. That's the trap. Thinking that the next step will bring you happiness. One accomplishment, one connection, or one project to improve yourself can take you there. Because of this, you keep moving, following, collecting, and adjusting, but you never really settle into one moment because you're waiting for the next one to truly make you feel whole. It's wearing me out. Not because you're broken, but because you were never meant to be in chase all the time. You were supposed to take breaks, to get some rest, to take a breath, to take a look at your life and say, enough. You might think that line is lazy though, so it's hard to say, or bad, or slack off. The work is praised by everyone. It turns being unhappy into a virtue. You're falling behind if you're not after something. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So you start to connect your worth to your speed and your peace to your success. It gets harder and harder to stay still, to value the small wins, to be happy with your own life without comparing it to someone else's. Being happy is not a sign of weakness. It is one of the most powerful states a person can reach. That's because it wakes you up, not numbs you. It doesn't make you inactive. It grounds you in being there. It stops you from using your life as a record and lets you live it from the inside out. It doesn't mean you stop getting better. It means that as you grow, you stop running away from yourself. It doesn't mean you'll take what you can get. In the middle of a feast, it means you're no longer hungry. The need for more will always be there. That voice won't go away right away. But the more you try to be happy, the less believable it gets. You start to notice that voice keeps promising happiness, but only gives you sadness. Now you understand why the next thing never quite lives up to what it promised. You start to feel the weight of always wanting, always changing, and always needing your life to be different in order to be happy. After that, you start to do something very new. You begin to pause. You start to see the little gifts that don't stand out, the breath that keeps going even when you don't ask it to, the roof that didn't leak all night, the person today who smiled at you, the food that made you feel good, the memory that made you remember who you are. Things like these don't look like they should work out, but they are where your peace comes from. You start to change when you see them. The mind that only saw lack now sees that there is something there. The heart that was only feeling stress starts to feel kindness. This change isn't very big. It's quiet and over again. You will have to keep telling yourself it's okay to stop, that it's okay to have enough feelings. The fact that your life doesn't need to be a show. It could be a prayer. A soft thank you was whispered to the everyday. The morning light was given a deep breath, a soft smile at a part of yourself that you are still getting to know and love. You'll still get better. You'll get better. You'll still learn. It will feel different, though. No longer is there a whip behind your back. Your worth doesn't have an end date. Things are just slowly coming together. A way of life that says you can be peaceful and making progress at the same time. That you can dream and be thankful for today at the same time. You don't have to want things in order to feel whole. Being happy makes room. Your nervous system starts to calm down in that place. Your breath gets softer. You sleep better. Things get better between you and your partners. You no longer need other people to behave in a certain way for you to feel safe. No longer do you need your money, your body, or your work to show that you are okay. You start to believe that things can be okay right now, even though they aren't perfect, especially when they are flawed. This doesn't mean you should stop trying. In other words, you start to strive from a different point of view, from having enough, not having enough. You start to make things because you're motivated, not because you're scared. You start to move toward your goals because they make you happy, not because you're running away from your fear that you're not good enough. You start to help, not because you're tired, but because you're happy. Being happy gives you power back. Not the kind that takes over, the kind that sets you free. You feel a steady toughness that isn't based on how well you're doing in the outside world. You start to see happiness where you used to miss it. Friends and family find it easier to be around you, not because you drop your standards, but because you stop seeing everything as not good enough. Even when life is hard, you start to feel lighter. You can rest easy now that your peace is stronger. Feel where the need for more still lives in your body tonight while you rest, where it gets tighter, where it speaks softly, the part that tells you this isn't it, there's still something that needs to happen. Then bring your attention back to what is already here in a gentle way, without pushing. The simple fact that you can breathe, the fact that you know. This very moment is real. It doesn't have to be anything else to be holy. You don't have to say no to what you want. Stop letting them own you. Allow them to come. Allow them to leave. Don't forget to enjoy the moment, though, because this one is also a part of your life right now, and you don't need to wait to be happy. Just change the way you look. Being happy is not the end of working hard. It's the end of beating yourself up. When you stop trying to earn peace like it's a prize, you start to remember that peace is something you return to, not something you win. You can now go back, not guilty, without asking for permission. You never missed anything because of this. When you let yourself feel the peaceful power of happiness more deeply, you start to notice that something else is also going away. It's a constant, hidden tension that you may not have seen clearly until now. The stress of wanting to know. The stress of wanting to know for sure. Not having faith that nothing bad will happen makes people afraid. Being happy makes you want less. But what about the need to be in charge of what comes next? That's where the next change starts. Not by figuring out the unknown, but by learning how to face it with something other than fear. Being sure of what will happen doesn't bring peace. It's because they don't have to. Sometimes there is a lot of fear in times when things aren't clear. It doesn't always yell. There are times when it's just there, like when your chest feels tight, your mind races in the middle of the night, or you feel the need to plan 10 steps ahead, even though you can't be sure what will happen. You won't be safe if you don't figure it out now. Things will go wrong if you don't get the answer soon. It makes the unknown seem scary and sees every pause as a threat. What if the fear isn't about what's going to happen? What if your fear is just a way of not wanting to know? The truth is that doubt is not a bad thing. It's just how things are in life. Things change all the time. Life is always changing, adapting and developing in ways that no one can fully plan for. You've been taught to fight this, though. You've learned to think of the unknown as something that needs to be managed or conquered. You've been told to expect certainty before you can relax and to make rigid plans based on outcomes that aren't certain. However, this way of life makes the mind tight, the body tense, and the heart wait for understanding that may never come. You don't have to give up order to learn to love uncertainty. It's about letting go of the idea that order means safety. It's about giving up the idea that life can be planned out. Something big starts to change when you let the unknown in, not as a problem to be solved, but as a place to explore. Your fear starts to change into interest. Your worry starts to turn into presence. You are no longer in a hurry. Instead, you are ready to see. Not because it gives you answers, but because it changes how you feel about the question. Curiosity is the cure for fear. It doesn't ask for an answer. There is no need for a promise. It only opens. It does hear. It leans in. When you're interested in something that you don't know what will happen, you stop waiting for it to happen and start watching it happen. You stop seeing the future as an enemy and start dancing with it. You will still feel fear, though. In other words, you start to see fear as a sign and not a stop sign. Fear warns, be careful. Curiosity urges, listen up. Fear stops. Curiosity takes a breath. And the more you breathe when you don't know what's going on, the less your nervous system changes to be based on fear. You start to trust yourself, not because you know all the answers, but because you know you can stay in the present moment, even if you don't have them. Fear can be turned into a doorway instead of a wall, a place where chances live, a place where strong identities become less rigid, a break where peace can come in. But only if you don't insist on having it look a certain way, if you stop fearing the unknown and start seeing it as the place where everything new, living and real must start. It will still try to guess what will happen. That's what it does. It will still ask, what if this takes place, and what could go wrong? That's fine. It's not meant to shut down the mind. To do it right, you should sit next to it, to calm down in the face of its fear. So be kind when you answer its questions, to give the thoughts room to stay without getting caught up in how important they are. If you're afraid, you don't have to give it the keys. It's possible to think about the future without letting it hold you back. You don't have to make a claim when you want clarity. You don't have to figure out the unknown all at once. You can learn more about it one breath at a time. That's where freedom lives. That is, not in the promise of security, but in how you deal with uncertainty itself. A connection based on trust instead of power, not on forecast, but on presence. How to accept things as they are, even if you don't know what's next. You're not inactive when you let go of the need to know. It gives you strength, because now your strength comes from being able to change, in how responsive, in understanding. For the first time, you start to act from harmony instead of reaction. Instead of being desperate, you start to make choices based on what you know. You stop being afraid of the future and start looking forward to it. And when people are open, peace grows. Not because bad things will never happen again, but because you don't have to leave yourself when things get hard. You stay. You take deep breaths. You pay attention. Trust the part of you that has been through scary times before and still found its way back to the ground. You remember that you didn't know how each part of your life that taught you something real would end. Let that kind of trust help you sleep tonight. Not the kind that tells you everything will be fine, but the kind that knows you'll be okay even if things don't. Feel the difference between following through and holding on. Take a moment to notice the places where your mind is still looking for answers before it lets you relax. Then ask yourself a new question. What if I could start to calm down right now? You don't have to know everything to be at peace. You need to stop avoiding the question. Put it next to you. Allow it to breathe with you. It should help you remember that not all things that aren't clear are dangerous. Some things are just about to happen, and it's not your job to hurry how things happen. You need to pay attention, take deep breaths, and face it with the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't need every step to be lit in order to move forward. This is not being careless. This is trust at work. This is surrendering while being aware. Open your eyes, keep your heart steady, and don't clench your hands around the future. This is the start of a new way to live your life. This is how you can live. You're already there. Every breath is a risk. Still, it comes. The heart won't beat every time. Still, it goes on. Things we don't know make up the world. But here you are, still learning, still moving, and still able to be happy. Don't let the unknown scare you. Let it teach you. It will teach you how to stay, how to open, and how to touch. Let it show you the beauty that comes out when you don't know what will happen. It should bring out the part of you that was always ready to start over. You still have that part of you here. It's ready to go into the next moment without a map. Not because it knows what's coming, but because it can trust what's inside it now. Another change starts deep inside you as soon as you start to trust the unknown and greet the future with interest instead of fear. You understand that life never asked you to handle everything by yourself. It was trying to get you to do something kinder. Something important doesn't have to be loud, powerful, or well-known. You become stronger in a different way when you offer yourself quietly to life, moment by moment, piece by piece. This kind of strength doesn't come from controlling what happens. This is where the healing power of quiet service starts. When you help someone and don't expect anything in return, your heart feels lighter, not when you're praised for it. There is an unseen weight that grows when life is all about being seen, understood, and liked. This weight can be on even good deeds when they are done to get praise. Kindness can lose its sweetness when it gets mixed up with the need to be heard. The mind can also turn even the nicest goals into deals without the person being aware of it. When I give, I expect something in return, like praise, thanks, respect, or a sense of joining. Sadness sets in when those things don't show up. Anger grows in the background. Anxiety tells you that you might not be seen, that you don't matter, and that you should put in more effort the next time. There is another way to live, though, a way that doesn't make your heart hurt while you wait to be noticed. One that takes away the stress of always having to show yourself. It leads to silent work. You serve because you want to, not because you want to get something in return. Not because you want to be recognized, but because it makes you feel good to help other people out when you can. Let your goodness flow like a river that feeds without expecting trees to thank you. For silent work, you don't have to hide or get smaller. It's about giving. Giving someone your time, care, and attention without expecting anything in return. It's the kind of giving that doesn't draw attention to itself. That kind of kindness that doesn't keep score. Kindness that doesn't make a fuss, but changes the world in ways that can't be seen. Something heavy falls away when you live this way. You no longer have to carry around an imaginary list of who owes you money. You stop looking at everything you do to see if it's good enough to be loved. You no longer need other people to see every good act you do in order to feel real. This is when you start to learn that true service is not a deal between egos. It is a message sent from one life to another. Quietly helping doesn't make what you're doing less important. It makes them stronger. Because right now, you're not adding to the world's constant noise that wants to be heard. As you keep going, you become a thread in the web of connections. Not only are you helping other people, but you are also healing yourself. Each time you do something without expecting anything in return, you free your heart a little more from the stress of having to be seen. This doesn't mean you have to hide your wants. That doesn't mean you don't see yourself as human. It means you know that being praised isn't what makes you happy. Being happy comes from living in line with the goodness that's already inside you. It means you believe that the quiet honesty of your own heart, not the praise of others, is what makes you valuable. When you give without expecting anything in return, you feel a different kind of happiness, a happier state of mind, a stronger form of peace. You smile at the stranger not because it makes you a better person, but because it makes you remember that you are naturally nice. You help someone carry a load not because you want praise, but because it feels good to do so. You help someone who is having a hard time not because it's the cool thing to do, but because when you let it flow, compassion comes more easily than judgment. This way of life becomes less work and more sense over time. It's more about realizing that you are good than making a choice to be good. It starts to get easier for the anxious self that worried a lot about being enough, doing enough, and being recognized enough to go away. There is no longer any goodness coming from you. You are living it. No longer do you wear yourself out trying to be good enough. You are resting in the knowledge that you already belong. In a world full of noise, silent service also keeps your peace. Because not getting noticed doesn't hurt you when you're not trying to get noticed. Being praised doesn't drain you when you're not trying to impress. You don't move. You don't move. You're free. You don't have to worry about how other people will behave when you offer your gifts, care, and energy. And being free lets you love more honestly. Because you want them to change, you stop helping them. You should stop being kind without any strings attached. You no longer need to be fixed, saved, or needed in order to feel important. Instead of having a set plan, you just meet each moment with an open hand. You are kind to everyone, not because you are a saint, but because it makes you feel better to love this way. Old habits will still try to pull you back from time to time. If you ever feel like you're not doing enough, being recognized enough, or being important enough, these words can help. It's all right. That's just an old habit of the mind. You don't have to fight it when you see it. You can just give her a soft smile and tell her the truth. You're not here to earn love. You're here to give it, without any restrictions, in peace, really. You don't have to erase yourself to do silent work. It's about making your heart so big that it doesn't need to beat to be real. It's about believing that little acts of kindness will have effects you may never see. Anyone who acts with kindness will leave a mark, even if no one sees. That your life can be a blessing, not because it's on display, but because you live it honestly. Let the peace that comes from giving this way fill you up tonight. Imagine giving someone your time, care, and attention without expecting anything in return. Take it easy and know that the quiet goodness you give is enough. It was always that way. It will always be that way. You don't need to shout more. You don't need to be bigger. To be real, you don't need to be known. Being kind already makes a difference. You are already important. There are already ways you can't measure how your small acts of love change the world. And your life will sing louder as your heart gets quieter. You did it. You walked through some of the most important facts in life. Tonight, you let go of the need to be in charge. You learned how to stop blaming others, let go of hope and fear, stop thinking about what-ifs all the time. Soften your body and see issues for what they are. Illusions. You were strong enough to see problems with kindness, to slow down when panic tried to speed you up, to change the way you saw yourself that made your fears worse, and to believe in the seeds that were growing beneath the ground. Life didn't fight you. You bowed to it. You let go of the need to get somewhere. You got through the storms in your mind. You learned how to find the everyday miracles that are right in front of you. You gave up your schedules, let go of the need to control other people, emptied yourself like hollow bamboo, learned the power of being happy, turned your fear of the unknown into wonder, served others with your heart, and believed in things that you couldn't see. And slowly, softly, you got back to peace, which you had never really lost. It's not some kind of prize for living a perfect life. It's always been here, hidden by the noise. You know how to get back now. If this trip moved you, please leave a comment below with the words, "I choose peace." I'd love to see who felt the change. If you want to stay on this path with me, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell. That way, you won't miss any more videos full of wisdom that will help you go even further. Thanks for coming here, letting your heart be open, and remembering what's important. Until then, take it easy and rest well.